the umpires are out in the middle. The Indians are taking the field, and so too now England's batsmen as well. Joe Root's dancing out to bat, jumping sideways each way. Behind him, rather more reserved, Dom Sibley walking out behind him. He's done a very good job. 27 not out. He survived one scare for leg before wicket. Otherwise, he has played as straight as he possibly can, trying to avoid that trap that has been set playing across that pad. 27 not out from 116 balls, but England's still got a lot of batting to do. Eye on the weather, the clouds. It's pretty dark over there. We are expecting rain to come at some stage, but for how long? Then we shall have to wait and see for that. Simon Mann is going to kick us off.
Well, it's been a really interesting, lunchtime as well, but morning session in this game. And as Agus said, let's hope the weather plays ball, because there's a lot of good cricket to come in this game. Root has played splendidly so far. Dom Sibley has done what Dom Sibley does. We've seen him do it quite a few times in the past. Actually, he did exactly the same on the first morning of the first day of this match. He scored 18 runs, which is exactly what he's done this morning. Anyway, he's not on strike straight after lunch. It's going to be Jadeja to bowl, who hasn't got... we've not seen any spin really from Jadeja. He got one to straighten a bit. Fourth morning. There's a big shout for LBW against Root. That just didn't really unconvincing, and India went for the review and it was unsuccessful. Root gets a single first ball after lunch in that very characteristic Root fashion against the left arm, and going back and pushing it through the offside off the back foot. So England underway after lunch. They're 120 for 2, and this partnership is worth 74 after the loss of Burns for 18 and Crawley for 6. The lead is 25. The new ball is quite a considerable distance away. 40 overs, and forward goes Sibley and plays that way into the off. So the reason I
wonder why you are.
Well, I tell you why, because I looked at I misinterpreted the bowling thing on the score, which is 69.4, and I thought, hold on, the new ball, it's 10 overs. It can't be. It's not. Here's Jadeja bowling, but forward goes Sibley, drops the ball onto the pitch, and punt steps forward to pick up, and there's no run. India have 2 slips in, so they think that there might be some turn out there. They can find the outside edge of Sibley's bat. Here's Jadeja bowling, and Sibley pushes forward and plays it into the offside, and there's no run. I know he's a left armer, and England got lots of right armers. And Jadeja's a better batter than Ravichandran Ashwin. Here is Jadeja bowling. Sibley lets that go outside the off stump through to punt. I just wonder whether if you just prefer now in this, if you're going to do a super sub, whether you'd bring on Ashwin for Jadeja. Here's Sibley clipping that into the onside straight to mid-wicket, and there is no run. It's the end of the over. We might just have a quick look at, compare Ashwin and Jadeja as bowlers in their test careers. I think England 120 for 2, the lead is 25.
I think if you had a super sub, you'd probably take Ashwin for Thakur rather than Jadeja.
Well, yeah, but if it had to be like for like,
especially since there are still 39 overs before the new ball is imminent. I know, although it hasn't turned yet. It hasn't really spun for him. They've often played Jadeja in England instead of Ashwin, actually.
Overall, Ashwin has 413 wickets at an average of 24.56. Jadeja 221 at an average of 24.52.
So there's 0.04 difference in their bowling average. And Jadeja's probably played more overseas tests in a sense, or more higher percentage. Sometimes he's preferred to Ashwin. Anyway, Ashwin's watching from the pavilion.
Here's Bumrah to bowl the first over from the pavilion end after lunch. Goes in now to bowl to Root, and Root turns it away down towards fine leg for 4. Straight in line there, Bumrah. It's an instinctive stroke from Root, reactive. He got enough bat on it to take it past punt, and also to the right of the fine leg fielder. So Root played that nicely.
He's been very positive, Root, hasn't he?
Yes. 61 from only 76 balls.
Yeah, and I like it, of course. I like seeing batsmen. I like it when he's in this sort of slightly perky mood, as if the whole burden of the innings isn't upon his shoulders.
Here is Bumrah to bowl to Root, and Root pushes that into the offside, just to the left of cover. There's a misfield. They run through for a single in any case. I think they would have got there without too many alarms, but it was a misfield. And so one more, 125 for 2.
Ashwin does have a better record in England. Only played 7 tests, 18 wickets, average 28. Jadeja in England, 17 wickets at just under 44.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I love Jadeja as a cricketer. He's a fabulous cricketer, great package. I just feel that Ashwin's a better bowler, but
Yeah. I mean, that's easy. I mean, that's perfectly logical.
Bumrah sets off from the pavilion end to bowl to Sibley, and Sibley blocks it back up the pitch, and Bumrah picks up. It was a good point about Root. You know, his perkiness of his batting. I mean, the stroke that brought him a half century was a bit short and wide, and he went for a sort of cut shot, and he thick-edged it over gully. And actually, you felt that, you know, it was a bit of a sketchy one, and one of the few he's played at. But it's fine, because that's the way he's been playing, and it's worked for him. And you're allowed a fraction of good fortune every now and again. He could have cut it straight to the fielder, couldn't he, around about head height, but it was over the fielder in the gully. Here's Bumrah bowling to Sibley, and it goes past the bat. Now, does it go past a pushed out defensive stroke? Difficult to tell. I think he might just have pulled the bat inside the line there, Sibley.
But it's also a reflection of where he thinks the game is, and he's batting he's not batting like a man trying to save a game dually. He's recognising that actually in this situation he's got to get England a lead somehow or other. Not playing against the time. He needs those runs.
Well, the lead is 30. Bumrah goes in and bowls to Sibley, drops it into the onside and short of mid-on, and that's good running through for a single. Largely the running between these two has been good. There was one moment when there's some hesitation and just the possibility of run out, but generally it's been positive. 126 for 2. Sibley gets his 28th run. It also, I suppose, where the way Root was played, it lifts some of the pressure on Sibley, because Sibley's just blocking, isn't he, or just sitting in, really sitting in. But Root's scoring at the other end. So England are going somewhere this time.
Yeah, he's got 62 runs out of a partnership of 80. Root.
Bumrah bowls, and that's a short ball pulled away by Root. Through deep backwards square leg. They've gone for one. They don't come back for the second. Throws on its way. Fielder from deep mid-wicket running round to deep backwards square leg. So Root, I think, was looking at 4, but he didn't quite hit it as perfectly as he would have wanted. And he's got the bowling at the end of the over. 127 for 2. Root goes to 63. Sibley's on 28.
Still more on Ashwin and Jadeja, and there's a slight perception that they're much more dominant in home conditions, and that is true to an extent. But looking at spinners outside Asia since the start of 2015, 22 spinners have bowled 200 or more overs outside Asia, and Jadeja and Ashwin are the two who've got the best averages in tests, excluding all test cricket played in Asia. Jadeja averages 27.5 in that time outside Asia, and Ashwin 28.5, and then behind them Maharaj, Sikandar Raza of Zimbabwe, and Nathan Lyon of Australia. So they have, without being as dominant overseas, they have still been very effective.
They've been the best available.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and of course India played both of them in the World Test Championship final, and that probably didn't quite work out for them, because I think anyone who was there for all 72 days of the match would have seen that India needed a fourth seamer. They're crying out for a fourth seamer.
You still don't leave Jadeja out. You play him as a batsman.
That's another interesting point, isn't it? Whether you play Jadeja as a batter and also play Ashwin and 4 other bowlers. I mean, could you play him instead of Rahane, for example? Here is Siraj into the attack, and it's full. It's driven gloriously by Root, square with a wicket for 4. They took Jadeja off, they brought Siraj on. It was full and wide, and Root leant into it, and he liked that. You could tell he really liked that.
That's the ball that's in the test match slot. It was a wide half volley, and he just caressed it, really, with a bit of force. Quite square, but he still beat the man at square, third man.
I saw a tweet from Michael at lunchtime saying that Root has scored 30% of all England's test runs this year. Nearly a third. Here's Siraj bowling, and that was a bit wider, and it was quite full. Again, Root went for it, and this time he miscued it back to the bowler, and there's no run.
Well, that is the problem. That is the problem, really. What you worry about is that Root will get burdened by the knowledge that if I don't get any, we're up the creek minus paddle. And what I've enjoyed about this innings is that it hasn't been at all careworn. It's been like the route of old, perhaps with pre-captaincy, pre-batting struggles for England.
Siraj to Root outside the off stump, forced away down towards deep backward point. India do have a man out there. He couldn't stop the four because it was hit so sweetly. It was away to his right. And it's a single this time. 132 for 2, and the lead creeping up. 37 now. Root 68. And Sibley back on strike on 28. He also has a very good record on this ground. Isn't it funny how some players just love playing here? Alistair Cook was here yesterday with us and saying he hated playing here.
Really?
Well, not hated, he couldn't get a run here. He said, I never did very well at Trent Bridge, because we were talking about him going off to play in the Royal London One Day Cup for Essex at Durham tomorrow.
Right.
Siraj bowls to Sibley, and Sibley blocks this back up the onside of the pitch. And I said, well, you could be back here for the final. And he said, well, that's no good for me, because I never get a run here. So why does Root get stacks of runs
I
here?
don't know.
Cook
It's
gets
not a good place
none?
to open batting, perhaps.
Well, it could be.
I mean, it does swing around earlier on. That much we know. But it is a surprise to hear that. He probably only averages 38 here, Alistair Cook, as opposed to...
Well, Zoltz will tell us in a second. There's Siraj to Sibley, and Sibley pushes that back up the offside of the pitch, and there's no run.
I think it was 22 at Trent Bridge. Never scored.
That's generally quite poor.
High score 50.
That's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, because there's been some high-scoring games here. Oh well. Not something that need keep him awake at night now.
No. Siraj turns down beneath us. It's gone overcast now. There's some blue sky way to our left, but none away to the right. Bowls to Sibley, and Sibley's forward, playing into the offside, and there's no run. Zoltz, do you do onside, offside charts for I think for Don Sibley's 28 not out? How many of those runs have come in on the onside and on the offside? You can hold your hand up and say no, I don't. If you haven't, he doesn't. Okay, fair enough.
He knows the man who does
Give
that.
me a minute.
All right, okay.
Oh, he's getting excited now, actually. On one of his screens, there's something that looks like a run chart that's suddenly come to light. And now he's counting them.
He scored 6 on the offside, 2 singles and a edge through the slips.
And the rest have been on the leg side.
So 3 scoring shots on the offside in 127 balls.
One of them was accidental.
I mean, they are remarkable stats for a Test match opening batsman. In one of the sort of big 4 teams.
I think it's not unusual, especially for openers, to score predominantly on the leg side, because they're going to be leaving the ball, leaving that new ball, dragging the bowler to bowl a little bit straighter, a bit closer to the pads, then just clipping them away.
Here's Bumrah going in to bowl to Root, short of a length. Root up on his toes, damming it into the onside towards mid-wicket, and there's no run. KL Rahul played a similarly.
Yeah, well, he got a lot of runs on the offside.
But he can score on both sides, can't he? And that's where the difference lies. I mean, his innings was Sibley-esque, really, wasn't it, in terms of runs per balls. Doing that job, anchor role for India in difficult conditions. It's been hard work for batters in this Test match. 132 for 2. Here's Bumrah going in to bowl to Root. Root opens the face and angles it away down to Rohit Sharma, who's filling in that slip cordon. It's not exactly second slip, it's more fifth slip now. It's not quite round enough to be gully. Jadeja prowling at backward point. Bumrah is in his 10th over, 1 for 27. Got rid of Crawley this morning with one that angled in and left him a fraction to take the outside edge. 132 for 2. Bumrah, pitter-patter, swing of the arm, goes in and bowls to Root, again in with the angle. Root guiding it down to Rohit again, fielding that slip cordon, and there is no run. What do England do about Zach Crawley? Victor is thin on runs ever since really that 267. He played very well in one innings in India where he made 50 and batted beautifully, then got out, and then it's been such a thin time for him at number 3. Focus, of course, is on England's top 3 and has been. Sibley grinding it out, but the non-striker's end at the moment. Here is Bumrah bowling to Root. Root in behind a ball that's short of a length, playing it back up the pitch to the bowler, and there's no run.
Well, they've got to pick. They've only got the one spare. They've got Hamid, and the rest. There is no other cricket for other people around the country. They're either playing Royal London, in which case they're sort of in the second half of the county side by and large, or they're playing in the 100. So they've got 4 choices for 3 places at the top of the order, which is slightly worrying.
Bumrah tries again, bowls to Root outside the off stumps. A nice shot from Root, but very well fielded by Rohit. But they're going to get an overthrow because Rohit fielded the ball. It went very quickly to him, and then he picked it up and he hurled the ball at the stumps, hit the base of the stumps, and it deflected towards short, fine leg. And they were able to go through for a single. Root was hoping for 4 because he played that. It's a delicious back cut, but he picked out Rohit Sharma. It was a good bit of cricket actually all round.
Apart from the throw by Rohit, which is unnecessary, I think.
Well, he thought Root might have been out of his ground, and he saw someone backing up. He was just a bit unlucky. The ball deflected into no man's land. 133 for 2. Root with that single goes to 69. Sibley on 28. Waits for Bumrah. The slip corner's closed up now. Back to 2 orthodox slips outside the off stump from Bumrah. Nothing from Sibley. Through to punt. And that is the end of the over. 133 for 2. England lead by 38.
Just a little more on Sibley's scoring areas. I don't know quite how far back the data goes, but looked at since 2016, 91 players have scored 750 or more runs in Test cricket. Only one has a higher onside percentage of total runs scored. Sibley has 61% of all of his runs.
Can we guess who it is or not? Or is it really obscure?
A very, very different type of player. Mitchell Stark,
right?
Australia.
We wouldn't have got there. I don't think very quickly.
Tends to score rather more rapidly.
Yeah. Plenty of bottom hand.
There's a lot of heaves.
Yeah. Floodlights coming on. Away to the right, it looks okay, but a few dark clouds coming over the ground. I think it's more a light issue initially rather than the rain for the next while. Anyway, here is Siraj into bowl to Root, and Root gets one that comes back into him. He was looking to guide it away down towards deep third and hit it hard into the surface. It bounced up behind him. Picked up in that slip cord. Rohit's in the game a bit at the moment. Actually, he probably hasn't touched the ball very much. So far today, but he has been in the game after lunch.
He will be when Root's batting because he plays so late, and he does like to score down that in that region. A bit like Williamson does that very well as well. Kane Williamson, he sort of plays late and guides singles down there. It's partly why Sharma's there. He wants to save the one.
Bowls to Root. Siraj comes back in after it pitched, obviously, and Root let it go. It's quite close to off stump by the time it went past it, but it did miss it, and it's through to the keeper. There's a suggestion there is a shower coming, I'm told.
Okay.
Next 20 minutes or so.
It's been quite accurate, whatever app it is that has been functioning.
Siraj to Root. Root, there's plenty of bat on that. Thick edge, turns it into the onside, backward a square. Gets a single, up to 70 now. And England to 134 for 2, the lead. Moving up, 39. And at the moment, you'd probably say, perhaps some people have thought this for a while because of the weather forecast, that perhaps the draw is just looking a more likely result of the 4.
Well, at what point does it become, forget the draw for a minute,
more
does it become 50-50 as to whether England or India might win? How many do England have for 2 wickets down?
Siraj to Sibley outside the off stump. Nothing from Sibley. India putting a short mid-off in now.
Maybe not 39 for 2, which is what England effectively are, but once you get to about 65 for 2, you're thinking, well, this, it's starting to not exactly control the game, but we're on level terms. I would randomly pluck out 65 for 2 as a sort of standard score, from which you might be able to get another 200. And then you're right in the game. Siraj
goes into Sibley, angling in. Sibley leans forward, lets it go by, past the off stump, through to wicketkeeper punt. Is that the end of the over? No, they were shaping as if it was the end of the over, but it is not. I suppose that in terms of time left in the match,
There's enough
Without
rain.
rain, there's enough time for England to win. Yeah, there would be, but with rain, then it's probably a bit harder because you've got to, unless we suddenly have a very low-scoring last part of the match, where England get bowled out and India struggle to make whatever they're set. Here is Siraj bowling to Sibley again. Sibley in behind that, playing defensively back up the pitch. It's the end of the over. 134 for 2 is the score. Root has 70. Sibley has 28. Time for a change. Victor or Zaltz, and then it will be Daniel Norcross.
Well, Simon was talking about England's top 3. I mean, it is a problem for England in that your top 3, I don't know much about football, but it's a bit like your back 4, isn't it? If you've got a solid back 4, you can build, you've got a foundation from which to build. But England are still scrabbling around trying to find a reliable top 3. And we've got 4 players in the squad who can bat in the top 3, and they can start perming them, I think, throughout this series. The game's come thick and fast. Hamid being the one not in the team at the moment, but I think they should think about that quite seriously, to just sort of perm 3 from 4 before every match.
Bumrah in to Root, who gets up on his toes and defends into the offside. Picked up Gully, and there's no run. 134 for 2, the lead 39. Root has 70 from 90 balls. In the context of this match, it's been an extraordinary innings.
He's got 70 off 90 balls without really hitting the ball hard. It's very clever, isn't it? I mean, he's driven beautifully through the offside, but he's got off strike so easily. The odd pull shot.
The clouds are gathering and amassing as Bumrah, it's this extraordinary run, trot, hurtle in, and Root defends, back at the wicket, shorter ball, back to the bowler, who tosses it to mid-off so it can be polished and shone. Sibley 28 from 131, Root 70 from 91. They're playing crucial innings for England in as contrasting styles as it is possible to imagine. Bumrah's at the top of his mark. The wind is picking up. The wind often comes before the rain. As Bumrah runs in, and Root flicks this away into the onside. They'll get a single for it as it goes down to deep backward square leg. 1 more to the total, 71 to Root, 135 for 2. The lead now 40. I'm looking away to my right from where the rain has been coming throughout this match. The forecast is for it to arrive almost immediately, but it doesn't quite look like that. But then it was weird yesterday, wasn't it? We had sort of almost clear skies from which rain was falling. It was very, very baffling. 2 slips are in for Sibley, 2 slips and a gully. Mid-wicket, mid-on, mid-off, and a cover. As Bumrah is in, and that's left alone by Sibley. Sort of, I'm trying to think of that reminds me, just brought the bat inside the line, a bit sort of Mark Benson-y almost.
Well, they used to talk about the curtain rail lead, didn't they?
Yeah. It's been so frustrating for a bowler.
Well, I think they know. It's very, very frustrating if you're a spectator sitting side on, where it's very hard to tell whether the batsman's playing or not. And from side on, you could conclude that Mark Benson or Jack Russell used to do it, or indeed Dom Sibley is one of the worst batsmen we've ever seen.
Here comes Bumrah. And Sibley waits. Oh, and has he got inside edge on that?
Yeah.
He has. He's gone. That went between bat and pad. He got a thick inside edge and a brilliant, brilliant diving catch by Rishabh Pant. Diving away to his left means the end of Dom Sibley's vigil for 28. England have lost their 3rd wicket. A really, really good piece of keeping there from Rishabh Pant, because that did jag back a long way. We're just going to have a little look at this on the replay. Yes, that's gone a long, long way, and he's dived goalkeeper style away to his left and taken it two-handed. To the delight of India, they've made the breakthrough. The partnership of 89 has been broken, and England have a lead of 40, and they've now lost 3 wickets.
It was a slightly odd dismissal in that Sibley, by Sibley standards, was playing an odd shot there. He was actually, I mean, he's been leaving those sorts of deliveries for hour after hour. There was a length ball outside off stump, and he was sort of flirting with it. And it zipped back off the pitch, took the inside edge. Very alert Pant there, diving to his left. which is his sort of good side in a way, but he took a fine catch. So Sibley has gone.
But he has an allergy to the cover drive, and I don't think he's going to play it again this year after that, because that was
it wasn't actually full enough to drive. It was an odd shot, but it was also a slightly devilish delivery because it did jag back quite a long way to take that inside edge. So remember, England were 135 for 3 in their first innings.
And then they lost 7 for 45, didn't they?
So out comes Johnny Bairstow to join his old county colleague, and well, it wouldn't have helped the cause if they could add another 70 as they did in the first innings.
Sibley's final figures 28 from 133 balls with 2 fours, both of them yesterday. Today 19 off 100, but an innings of considerably greater value than it looks on the scorecard, you would say. 133 balls down to the 70 he lasted in the first
I could
innings.
see, either you or the people at CrickBiz will say, well, actually, he didn't get 28. He got 73.
In real terms.
Once we've put the algorithms to work.
Sibley maths, as it's called. Yes.
Valuable 28 in the context of the game, you would say.
It was a spectacular catch from Hunt, but the more you look at that shot, the more baffling it is, because there was no length to drive there at all.
No.
I mean, if anything, you play a sort of back foot punch through the offside.
But you feel
he's driven
reluctant
at
to
it.
criticise Sibley for trying to play
Well,
too many shots.
I know. Well, it doesn't seem right, does it? He showed some ambition there.
What sort of shot was that?
I know. Well, Bairstow's on strike now, and Bumrah's got 1 ball left in this over, and he's got 3 slips in. Bairstow leaves this ball alone outside the off stump, through to the keeper, no run. 135 for 3, end of a successful over from Bumrah. He has 2 for 29 now. England lead by 40, and Root is there on 71.
The partnership was 89 from 28.5 overs. Root scored 71 of them, Sibley 12, and there were 6 extras. It's the second highest and second longest partnership of the match so far, behind the Rahul Rohit Sharma opening stand for India.
Well, how crucial that stand will be will be determined really by what happens now.
Indeed. And it's 40 for 3. It's essentially England are 40 for 3 in this one innings match we're conjuring up.
Yes, they're not in a strong position by any means, and they're teetering here. That's how quickly Test cricket can change. Siraj is going to start a new over to Root. Root plays and misses at this. It goes through to punt, and Siraj cannot believe it. He's got his hands on his head. He cannot understand how that didn't take the edge. He went for a sort of Imran Tahir style celebration, but it was more in despair than celebration. That was so close.
Well, it's so close to both to hitting the off stump and hitting the bat of Root, because it nipped back, but Root was late on it. He was half leaving it. And it missed off stump, much to Siraj's surprise.
Do you know, the ball that jags back is causing a lot of problems in this match? Siraj in again, works into the onside up to mid-on, a fuller ball. Do you know...
Do you mean to say it doesn't cause problems in other matches?
No, I don't mean that. I mean that when you sort of arrive at Trent Bridge, in your mind's eye, you see people being caught in the slips to balls that move at the last minute away and take an edge. And what we've seen in this match is that the ball that jags back in off the seam is causing batters an awful lot of trouble, and it's been a bit like that this year, actually, generally. And Siraj is into... Oh, Root shot to the pad! Big appeal! He wants it? No, says umpire Goff.
They might review it.
I think
because
they
it's
might.
Root. No, I don't think he wants to.
It bounced up off the pad. Now we've got 6 seconds left. 5.
He likes to wait until
He
there's
does. 1
second left. He's not going to review this one, I don't think.
No, he's not. That's it. The count has gone down.
I mean, you have a
jagged
point.
back sharply
Oh,
again.
yeah, you have, because Robinson actually got the ball to move, but more often than not, it was into the right-hander. A lot of LBW appeals, nearly always actually going over the top. This one, I think, was just about going down.
I think it's high as well, isn't it?
Maybe
We've seen him
just high.
above the knee roll. And
Forgot to ask Alistair Cook about his pads. You must do that at Lord's.
Well,
The
we've
fact
just-
that his knee roll is about just in front of his shins for LBW purposes.
Oh, I see. I see.
You must
Okay.
ask him.
Okay.
I meant to ask him, but he's gone now. Sorry.
He'll be back. He'll be back. We'll get to do it again. We've seen the ball tracking on that, and
What was it doing?
it was missing. It was going too high, and down. Siraj is in, and again that ball jags back a bit, and Root just guides it down to the sort of fourth slip. He's not a gully. It's a curious configuration we've got at the moment. We have a slip and a sort of fourth slip, a point, a deep backward point, an extra, a mid-off, and Siraj is just getting the ball to jag off the pitch at the moment.
Yeah, and he's bowling with quite a lot of zip now, a bit more pace, I think. He senses, the wicket has fallen.
They've come in clusters in this match, haven't they? Here he is once more, and Root punches off the back foot, but straight to that sort of quite short point position. There's no run. 135 for 3. Suddenly, there's a feeling in the air, don't you think? There's a feeling of peril in the air. Gary Dutton says it's raining in Ashby de la Zouch, which is approximately 17 miles due southwest from Nottingham, which is where this weather is heading in from.
I remember Leicester used to play at Ashby de la Zouch. I'd never played there myself, but I've just seen it in Wisdom many years ago. Must be a romantic ground, surely.
Siraj is in, full, driven gloriously by Root for 4. That's going to go through the covers, hit the sponge now. It's a lovely looking shot, but it's a long half volley. And Siraj will just be a bit annoyed there because he bowled a good over and he's just let Root off the hook. He moves to 75, 139 for 3, the lead 44. Bairstow's just faced the one ball, he's yet to score.
Well,
Adrian Mole, I've just been told, was from Ashby de la Zouch.
Adrian Mole?
Adrian Mole, yes. Yes.
Well, it's the sort of place he would be from, isn't it?
What do you mean by that, Victor? What are you saying about both Adrian Mole and indeed Ashby de la Zouch?
Well, I speak from a position of great weakness here because I've never actually been to Ashby, but it's a fantastic name,
read
isn't
Adrian
it?
Mole.
No, I have read Adrian Mole. But I didn't know, when having read Adrian Mole, that his home was in Ashby de la Zouch. Does it feature significantly?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What about Pandora? Was she from Ashby de la Zouch as well?
Oh, Pandora, yes. Bumrah is in, and it's wide outside the off stump, left alone. There's no run.
Well, it's been a while since anyone said, "Oh, Pandora," like that on TNS. But Joe Root, in the course of this test, he began this test.
It's a literary reference.
He began this test as the 21st highest scorer in Test cricket. He's gone up to 17th. He overtook A.B. de Villiers in the first innings, and in the course of this innings, so far, he's overtaken VVS Laxman, Inzamam ul Haq, and Javed Miandad. And he's now just past 8,850 runs. Graham Gooch on 8,900 is next on the list.
So he needs 122, does he, in this innings to get to 8,900? Is that right? My back of a envelope maths is Bumrah's in, left alone by Bairstow at the last minute, and Pant's looking cheeky. I think he's enjoying this at the moment, and he's smiling, he's vivacious, and I think if you're Johnny Bairstow right now, you might be feeling a bit of pressure.
Just wants one on his pads, tackle away, get going.
Well, he'd quite like that full half volley that Root got.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only person who wouldn't like that ball, I think, would be Dom Sibley.
Well, it's not here anymore.
No. Here comes Bumrah into Bairstow. Bairstow lets it go again. It was fuller on this occasion. He might have had a little flirt with that, but he didn't. He left it alone, and once more no run. The more I'm utterly baffled. The more and more I look at Dom Sibley's shot, it was nowhere there for the drive.
It looked like he was trying to play a cover drive on the up, which is not really his thing.
Well, it really isn't his thing, as we've spotted. But as he's been in a long time, he was just break of concentration, perhaps. As Bumrah, he's into Bairstow, and he does get one on his pads, and he's off the mark. It's running away across the practice pitches. It's almost speeding up, but it can't be, of course, and they're going to come back for 3 as he works that through mid-wicket. 142 for 3.
It's actually beautifully timed, that, wasn't it? Because it's just a little nudge right off the meat of the bat, and it just kept going.
If you, by the way, missed our view from the boundary, it's available as a podcast. BBC Sounds podcast with H from Line of Duty. He's still here, and he's still unnerving me next door. But it's strange, isn't it, when you get when you have a villain in the house, with having sort of Peter Cushing here or Vincent Price, you know. That's to say so, yeah, he's there and then he's gone. Here comes Bumrah into Root. Root drives at this and misses. Oh, I say. Now, almost everything's been coming out the middle of Root's bat until now, and you just feel there's a tension, there's a pressure.
How did he miss that? Because he's been middling everything. Perhaps it was just not quite as full as he thought.
Bumrah's really got his
move?
line and his length absolutely spot on in the last few overs. It's terrific stuff.
Duffus is here.
Ah, and you're off, are you, Victor?
Yeah.
142 for 3. Bumrah in. Last ball of his over. Root on strike. Root edges just in front. The first slip. Kohli there bounces about a metre or two in front of him. End of the over. England lead by 47. Root has 75. Bairstow has 3. Now we have the quiz today. It's Silly Pointless. Silly Pointless is back. I've seen some of the questions. I wouldn't say they're devilishly hard, but they're pretty testing. And if you would like to take part, get in touch with us. tms@bbc.co.uk or get in touch with us on social media. We pit village against village. We pit village against pit village if necessary. And
Is that a T?
that's at T.
Oh,
yes.
cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, yes, I am.
Haven't been doing a lot of quizzing lately.
No, you haven't. Oh, you're a bit rusty, but join in.
Yes, we'll do.
So yes, if you want to take part in that, let us know, and you'll get your opportunity to become only the third. Well,
Yeah.
you'll be the 5th and 6th people to have appeared on Silly Pointless.
Is there a trophy or?
I wouldn't like to promise anything. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to promise anything.
Nice
Absolutely
lemon drizzled
nothing.
cake or something?
Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Start of a new over. Siraj hurtles in and Bairstow defends at the offside and there's no run. Isn't this gripping, Tuffers?
Yeah, it is.
We have got an absolutely gripping match situation.
Yep.
Terrific bowling from 2 marvellous bowlers using the conditions well.
Yep.
And we've got Root in on 75 playing an innings for the ages.
Cool. Isn't he just?
Hasn't it been marvellous? I mean,
Looked in great touch.
you think about everybody else. I mean, KL Rahul played a super knock, as did Jadeja, but the fluency of Root has been something to behold today.
It has indeed.
Siraj in with 2 slips and a gully. Bairstow angles this to that gully along the ground and there's no run.
And the ball just started to do a little bit. I think it's when that cloud builds up. I think, happened in England when England bowled, didn't it?
Yes.
It sort of it rolls in a bit.
As they gather.
Yeah, and it just
Ominously.
starts to nip about a little bit. So England got to be careful here, especially Johnny Bairstow just come in. But Joe Root, wow, he's looked in top class form.
Really has.
Really has.
But he's got plenty of work still to do.
Yes,
England
indeed.
only lead by 47. Siraj is in. Bairstow drives at this, thick inside half of the bat really, rolls up to mid-on.
And what it does, what Joe Root's form does, is that it has ticked off that lead, hasn't it?
It has.
I was thinking, oh crikey, they're going to take a bit of time to get through
Nearly
that.
3-0.
I
aren't
know,
they, really?
that's right.
Under the circuit, it doesn't sound like loads.
No,
but when
yeah.
Sibley at one end has got 28 of 130 odd, then
Yeah. They've just ticked past them, as you say. Lead of 47 now. It's just, not comfortable, but
Siraj is in. And Bairstow gets one of the pads. There's a big appeal. I think it's going down. They really like it, but Rishabh Pant had moved 3 paces to his left.
Yeah.
And Kohli doesn't like it. He's slightly... he's not sure.
Siraj isn't shy of asking the skip,
No.
is he?
He really liked it, but he's pleading, he's begging. They've gone for it.
No way. Well, that
look,
is ridiculous.
I could be wrong, but I think this is missing leg stump.
Well, I could be wrong as well, but I'm not.
TV umpire director, we have a player
We're
review
looking straight
for
down.
LBW.
We've got a pretty good view of this,
Original
and
decision is not out.
it jagged
It's
back
fair
a bit.
delivery, so can we have a look at front on spin vision, please?
I'm not even certain that he didn't get a bit of inside edge on it as well. There's a lot going for this. It has jagged back a long way. It's hit above the knee roll. It
rock it
hasn't
back,
hit the bat.
please.
It hasn't hit the bat.
Okay, clearly no bat involved, so we
Height
can go to
and
ball
direction.
tracking when ready.
It's coming from quite the angle.
Pitching
here we go.
outside.
Missing
Impact in
a lot.
line.
It's
Wickets missing. We go back to Michael on field to stay with his original decision.
Yeah,
Right, it was high and wide.
Yes,
So that is, they've only got one review now,
Yeah.
India, and Kohli and Joe Root have not had the best of time with reviews. In fairness, Richard Punt did convince them to go for a review on Crawley in the first innings, but you could see where Punt ended up. He was miles down the leg side.
And I'll tell you what, with Siraj, you know, as you said, he hurls himself at the delivery stride and then very quickly runs off the pitch.
Yeah.
So his eye line, once he's sort of like looked up, is sort of a wide, and I think that's why he thinks a lot of them are straighter than they actually are.
It's a very good point, that. It's a very good point, because he does. He has quite it's a noticeable veer.
Yes.
Isn't it? Towards sort of...
Yeah, that was a poor review. That was a poor review from him there, because he's bullied the skipper a bit there and the wicket keeper. So
one review left for India. England still have 3 intact. 2 slips, gully, point, extra, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket. And Siraj is in, and Bairstow defends comfortably to that cover, and there's no run. So it just feels like drama. It just feels, it's just bubbling up.
Stuff.
Yeah,
I know, it's really good, and it's such a shame that we have lost so much for rain, because
I think there's
do you think there's still some in this?
I really do.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, the rain hasn't come when it was forecast to come now.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen wickets go in clusters.
One or 2 more wickets.
Here we go. Siraj is in, played nicely by Bairstow. He's going to get 4 for it. Off the back foot, square of the wicket, out through backward point, all along the ground. 4 more for England. Valuable runs. It takes the lead over 50. They lead by 51. 146 for 3. Bairstow has 7. Root has 75. We have got a thrilling match on our hands. Thoughts from Phil Tufnell? And then, to take you through the next 20 minutes, it'll be Jonathan Agnew.
We have indeed. That was a great shot by Johnny Bairstow. The one thing with Johnny Bairstow is he will keep pace with Joe Root, so England will be thinking if these two could just stay together, perhaps up until tea, they'll have a pretty decent lead. But 50, they always say, 50 lead at the moment, 146 for 3. They always say just add a couple of wickets and then all of a sudden you're back in trouble. So Joe Root the key for me. John.
146 for 3. Yes, I'm sorry about that. In comes Bumrah. Bowls steered away down towards backward point, and there's no run. They take 1 run. Sorry, I just had all the police on everything. Your car's been stolen.
What?
No, it hasn't. Please relax. It hasn't. Well, my wife's got it, and all is okay. I've been trying to get hold of her. It's parked in the Victoria Centre car park, being valeted apparently. So I don't know. Satellites have gone off. The police have been called.
Oh dear.
She just rang me as I was sitting down.
What, thinking the car's been nicked?
Well, I thought, I don't know. Anyway,
you've got
all is okay.
Okay.
It's all okay.
So you've got one of those apps, have you, that sort of...
Relax. Well, it's sort of security things, aren't they? You have to stop your car being nicked.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, 147 for 3. I should have got buckles on the case. It would definitely been nicked then. He'd have probably driven off in it. Joe Root's got 76. He's played really well, really fluently. Bairstow on strike at the moment on 7. And Bumrah's on his way from the pavilion end. Dark clouds gathering. That's played away to backward point. And there's no run. And yes, there's a podcast now too of lunchtime, which is great fun. Learned a lot of there about all sorts of things.
Good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And isn't it clever, these people? They play such a sort of character one moment and look nothing like
very
life.
Friendly.
Oh yeah,
smiling.
Go into character.
That's
I think
right.
is the expression.
Yes, that's right.
147 for 3. Bumrah once again. Members behind him there in the pavilion comes skipping in, bowls, and Bairstow gets one that nips back at him, and there's no run.
And also, you must have a wonderful memory because to remember all those lines, and I sometimes sort of watch that Casualty and things like that, and you're not a doctor, so you don't know all this. It's this vein going to the
all those acronyms they learned in line of duty.
Exactly.
Crikey.
I couldn't follow.
They just trot them off as if they're a second nature.
Like you've been doing it all your life.
Yeah,
amazing.
147 for 3. So it is cloudy over there to the right. We will get some rain, I think. But just a question of how much. Bumrah once again bowls, and Bairstow to a drive down to mid-off.
Good test this, I guess.
It is. It's 52. Minimum of another 100, obviously, but
absolute minimum.
But 200 starts to get interesting. Lead.
Oh, yeah, a couple of early ones. Anderson hooping it round corners. That's what England will be thinking.
Yep. Never nice.
Got to get there first.
Batting last, chasing a score in a Test match.
Pressure on.
147 for 3. As Bumrah bowls, turned by Bairstow. Root sets off for a single. Yep, Bairstow responds.
Good running.
So they go for that run. 148 for 3. Root and Bairstow share a conversation. My word, they've played some cricket together, these two.
Yeah, he's got a big smile on his face as well. He was looking a bit sort of down, wasn't he? When the bowling wasn't quite happening, but he's played this knock effervescent.
Yep. Well, I mean, look at that, 76 of 101 balls.
Beautiful
I mean,
against this attack.
In the context of the match.
A bit of a spicy pitch.
It's a remarkable innings, really.
It is. Top knock.
He holds Bumrah up for a moment. Bumrah says, "What's up with you?"
Oh.
And then looks, stares at him, and then goes back to the start of his mark again. And Root twiddles his bat. He won't bother about that. There's only a slip in a gully. That's always a bit of an indication about what the fielding captain is thinking. As Bumrah rushes in, bowls, and Root allows that to pass harmlessly by outside the off stump, and then stares at Bumrah. A little bit of eye contact there and a smile. And it's the end of the over, the 50th, so there's 30 to go until a new ball could be taken. So 148 for 3, and lead by 53.
So 30 overs till a new ball. What we go at? 3 and over. That's another 90 odd.
Yep.
Starts getting you to 140 lead. There it is.
Booing going on. Maybe some stewards moving in somewhere. Often a sign. Has spotted any fancy dresses around today? We've got our footballer over there.
Yeah, there's a few.
With his wig on.
There you go. Look. Someone's waving at us with a shark.
Oh, yes.
Inflatable shark.
Yeah, we like that, thank you. Well done for bringing that in. It's not a very big shark.
No, got one.
It's sort of inflatable minnow, I think that is. But anyway, he's very pleased with it.
I caught a shark once, you know. Well, I didn't. We went out on a boat, I might have told you. No, in New Zealand.
Caught one?
Yeah, well, Alan Mullally sort of snagged hooked one.
Oh.
Yes, it was quite a big thing. It was about 5 or 6 foot.
The reef shark, a harmless one.
Yeah, it was. No, it's flapping about when it came on the boat. I didn't want to get anywhere near it. No, and what we did was we didn't quite know what to do, and it was a bit of a bad way and everything. And then Alan Mullally decided that we take it back to the hotel and put it in Mike Atherton's bed.
What earth did he do that for? 148 for 3. Shammy's on his way. He's there and bowls full, driven for 4 by Bairstow. Thickish outside edge, but the thickish outside edges these days of bats, I think, are the middles of what they used to be, and that flew away down through a gully and for 4 runs.
Yeah, it was a great wheeze.
Right.
We were really chuckling away. Someone distracted us because Athers was having dinner or something, and we've all sort of snuck in past him with this 6 foot shark.
Oh no, I've not heard that before.
Yeah, yes.
So he leapt into bed and...
Well, no, and then we've all said, night Athers, and he's sort of gone up, and we've all sort of crept up behind him and everything, just waited down the corridor. And we just heard this,
Shammy's on his way, wide of the crease, bowls. Oh, he almost edged this. Almost. Because Shammy went wide of the crease, he was lured into playing at it outside his off stump because of the angle coming in. But it just held its own there. Shammy smiles. Lovely piece of bowling.
those bad days.
Oh dear, poor old Others. I'm not going to ask what happened to it, but anyway.
No, I think it was removed.
Yeah. 152 for 3.
He had to put up with a lot.
I think all your captains did. Shammy again bowls to Bairstow, who's forward, desperately getting onto that front foot if he can.
He's changed his line, Shammy, hasn't he? He's bowled right at the stumps.
Yep.
I think that, especially to Sibley as well, I mean, he's going, right, I'm not going to let you just leave it outside the off stump. You're going to be playing at everything here. If you get one a bit straight, as he's got an extra man over on the leg side, well, we've got a bit of cover there, but I think he's really looking for LBs.
Very clever bowler.
He is indeed.
Yeah. The one that captain can throw the ball to, he bowls along spells.
Yeah.
Very economical. Rushes in now, bowls, Bairstow
like
works
that.
him across his stumps.
Yeah.
Fielded at mid-wicket. 152 for 3.
I like the way he bats. Oh, Shammy.
Yeah.
Very exciting, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yesterday.
It was.
Great big smile.
Yeah,
on his
huge
face.
swipes. I mean, they're not great players, are they? So they just sort of get on with it, really. Boomer's batting. I bet he watched the highlights
Oh, he
last
did
night.
well, did Crikey, what a 6 that was, a front foot hook.
We could slide through this rain,
Yes, there you go.
Could
I'm
go
confident.
just to the south of us. It could do. Chamois bowls, it's full, and Bairstow drives. Real power in that. Thakur as a fielder at mid-on. It's just a question of what you want to believe in a way with these rain radars. I mean, there's a lot of rain around.
Is that us there, the little blue spot?
The little blue spot.
Oh, that one.
We are going to get a bit.
Yeah.
But it might not last for long. So
You never know.
let's be patient. 152 for 3. The lead
Hope
is
not.
57.
Hope not, because it's bubbling up nicely.
Yep. Chamois again, little yellow towel sticking out of the waistband of his trousers, brings Bairstow forward. A nice big gap there in the offside, just behind square, and Bairstow has pushed it into that. He's calling for fresh gloves. A little signal there towards the dressing rooms. And, have they been listening to what they should do when the light gets down to that level? I've been looking at it. There's been a fair amount of support for my BS theory.
Yes, well, I'm just waiting for it to come up in 25-foot letters on the screen.
Exactly. And you carry on, but you can't bowl. Well, you can bowl one short ball, so it's there, so it's in the batsman's mind. Anyway, I don't think it's going to happen today, sadly.
No.
It was Holding and Sangakkara, rather put the kibosh on it. Some flamingos up there at the top of the stand to our left.
Do you know what they're called? A group of flamingos?
Well, it's obviously not a flock, is it?
No. I do.
Hang on. The Zaltzman, though.
Oh.
I do know, because we talked about it earlier on, and I'm on air all the time.
Oh, gee, you're done. You've completely grasped me up there. I was going to amaze Aggers there with my knowledge of flamingos. A flamboyance.
Is it
John.
a flamboyant, is it?
Flamboyance and flamingo.
That's lovely. What a lovely word for it.
Well, that's what we said about 11:30.
That's nice. Siraj on his way, bowls outside the off stump, and that's 4 runs. It's carved away through third man by Bairstow, and they will score quickly, these two. They stay together for an hour. That lead will rattle along. Bairstow 17.
Teed him up lovely there.
Route 76. My favourite one, and it's not an alliteration, is the Kangaroos one.
Oh, what's that? A bounce?
No?
What else could
So we've
that-
had this when the Aussies come and they have their
Yeah.
inflatable kangaroos.
Yes, and what could
And they wave them around.
Okay. What else do they do, kangaroo?
157 for 3, and he's pulled this as well, but not timed it. And Thakur can field that at mid-wicket. I thought Zaltzman might know this.
Big on the kangaroos?
Collective noun for...
Oh, is it a mob?
It is.
Yes.
Where'd you pull that one from?
Yes, I think I remember. Yes.
Wasn't that the collected noun for anything from Australia?
It is. It is, but particularly kangaroos. Yes.
Yes. But
It's a good word,
Yeah,
isn't
it is a good. Yeah, you could just imagine sort of like, I don't know, down a dark alley, even.
Yep.
Flamboyance of flamingo is also a Heston Blumenthal recipe, I believe. as well.
It could be. We had an interesting encounter with Heston a few years ago at Lord's, I recall. Here's Siraj bowling outside the off stump. It was tea time. I think he'd had a reasonable day. And it was one of those where you can't, looking for a guest.
Yeah.
And Heston turned up.
Right.
Lovely chap.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful day. And I said, come on, Heston, it's tea time here.
Yeah.
Just what should people put on their barbecues tonight?
Yeah.
And I didn't realise, because I come a bit naive on these matters. But as it turned out, and Adam got there first because he's shouting in my headphones, "Get him off! Get him off! Get him off!" And comes Siraj and bowls. That's flicked away into the leg side. There's a run here, down to long leg. Because I was like, oh, well, that sounds interesting. I'm thinking, what is that? And oh, really? Well, oh, right. So 100 grams of that. He went through about every type of magic mushroom that's available.
Oh, really?
Yes. To put it on your barbecue. Get him off. Get him off. So that was quite amusing. Anyway, I hope no one did put that on the barbecues. You take a chance on TMS, don't you, with your guests?
Well, there you go.
Yeah, 158 for 3. Lead is 63, and this next one's played out towards mid-wicket. And there's no run. Route 76, Bairstow 18.
I wonder who decides those names then. Who sort of comes up with that and makes it stick?
Well, the collections?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think we just make up as you go along.
Oh, is it?
We had a good one of Stewards the other day, which I can't, it's slipped me by now, but there were some good ones.
The Murder of Crows I like as well. Very apt, yes.
158 for 3. And Siraj again runs in bowls, and back goes Root, pushing it defensively into the covers. But the field is spread. You know what's happening in Kohli's mind. He's thinking, I don't want to give away too many runs here. What was our collective term for stewards in the end? There were some excellent nominations. Should have written them down, really. The tabard of stewards. That was a good one.
That one, a high vis of stewards.
There's something slightly more sort of muscly about it as well, I think, one of the suggestions. But no, it's a quiet afternoon. It's
an ejection of stewards.
Yes, that was good. Yeah, we like that one.
Yep.
158 for 3, and Shami will continue from this end. You know, looking at that brightness
we're
there,
missing it.
we might be lucky here. We might really be lucky, at least with this hit that is going to go, I think, just to the south. There's an air of brightness there. It's not blue sky, but it's certainly brighter sky. It's coming our way. Just keep your fingers crossed. The lead is 63. Shami bowls, and Bairstow plays out very late, steering the ball down to slip where Rohit Sharma dives and fields and gets a little slap on his hands and a clap on the back from his captain, and a low 5 for Rishabh Pant, the keeper, saying well done. Always makes you feel better.
Yeah, made the effort to throw yourself onto the ground.
It's quite wide there at slip. He's cutting off that shot, really.
Yep.
She's trying to lure him wide.
Yeah, hedging his bets, haven't they?
So therefore, you just need that man to be a little wider or have a third slip, of course. But how about that short mid wicket? Interesting position. Shami again runs up, bowls. Oh, Bairstow's hit on the pad. Appeal for leg before wicket. Not out, says the umpire. And Shami accepts that probably was a good decision. Kohli too, he's got his arms folded.
Just outside the line. Just as when he got a stride in.
You mentioned how straight they've been bowling at Bairstow so far. Something you mentioned in the first innings. It has been a vulnerability of his since the start of the 2017 English summer. No top 7 batsman in world cricket has been more vulnerable to the ball projected to hit the stumps by the ball tracking technology. Bairstow has been out once every 18 balls.
Well, he was bowled, wasn't he? Clean bowled a lot.
Bowled 20 times and LBW 12 times in that sequence.
Shami again runs in, bowls as wide of the stumps, and Bairstow allows that to go through low, through to the wicketkeeper Pant.
Well, he changed his technique, didn't he? He kept sort of playing that one, perhaps the square leg, that straight delivery, and then he just sort of started looking to knock it back to mid-on.
Driving without moving his feet. Really.
Yeah. It was close.
Yeah, it's just a little bit high, looking at the review, or the replay at least, of that last one. Not much traffic around looking down there on the Loughborough Road. There's people enjoying a
Saturday, I suppose.
Saturday at home or something, but
shopping.
A few cars here or there. Shami bowls on the leg stump, clipped away by Bairstow. He's beaten the man there at shortwood wicket. So a chase for the fielder running round out there to his left. Sends the throw in. 2 more to Bairstow. 160 for 3, so the lead now 65.
He's walking round there with all the security.
Well, you've got 4 Indian players who are outnumbered by the stewards. Talk about line of duty. They're like the sort of people that you see in those armed chases going around. They've got green blazers though, so there's only 4 players. There's a lot of security there. Chami bowls. Bairstow is going to leave that. But it's rather late, and the ball struck the bat as he was withdrawing it. Lead 65. There's cricketers walking around, most of them wearing masks and so on. Some very burly looking people there in attendance. 160 for 3. Here's the last ball of the over. And Chami, wearing number 11, on his way over the wicket, bowls, and that's nicely played by Bairstow, just shuffling into line, playing back up the pitch. Well, these two put on 25 and just steadied the nerve a little. Root's playing really well. 76, Bairstow 20. Tougher, some more thoughts from you, and then Isha is coming in here.
He is playing wonderfully well, Joe Root. A real captain's knock. Slowly trying to haul England out of a tricky situation. Bairstow's come in and struck some nice shots as well, and as Aggers was saying, with these two, the scoreboard will tick over. Lead by 65 now. They'll be wanting to get up to that 100. Isha.
Hello. Phil. Just untangle myself, and we are good to go. Joe Root not happy. There's more movement behind Mohammad Siraj at the pavilion end. He's now set and ready. Just a wideish first slip and a full slipping position for him as he defends the ball to the offside, pats it and comes through for 1. With that deep point out on the boundary, he's able to get through easily for a single. Moves to 77. 161 for 3 now, England. A lead of 66. Bairstow's come out and been positive.
Yep, absolutely. It just takes a bit of pressure off the captain as well, doesn't it? You know, he's not having to do the main bulk of the scoring. But they come out and putting together a decent partnership. I'm surprised Thakur hasn't had a bowl, actually.
Bairstow cuts in front of point out to the boundary. Huge cheers around the ground as he picks up 4, slightly wider on that occasion. And Bairstow moves to 24, 165 for 3. Well, we've seen a couple of fuller deliveries that Joe Root has been able to tuck into. Nice drives. You say don't bowl there to him, and this particular delivery to Bairstow is bread and butter. That's right in his feeding zone. There's a deep point has now been set back for him as well.
Yeah, cracking cut that was.
Here comes Siraj again. Bairstow on the front foot, driving to extra cover on the up. No run. It just feels like a real sort of intent that we've seen from Bairstow coming into this side. It's been a sort of in and out scenario for him over the last 18 months or so.
Well, bags of experience.
He does, and you look at him and you see him on the balcony there, and he's waiting to come into bat, and you think, okay, there's a bit of experience coming into bat with Bairstow, someone who's been there and done it. As Siraj is in to Bairstow, who whips it to mid-wicket off the front foot, no run.
But also a threat. You know, it's an actual threat as a bowling side. You're going, well, I don't want Johnny Bairstow to get the 30 or 40, otherwise, you know, he's going to be playing some shots and looking to put the ball back in our court, sort of thing, you know what I mean? So sometimes you look up, it used to happen with me. I can remember when I was playing Australia, and there'd always be sort of like 480 for 4 or something like that, and you'd look up and there'd be sort of Adam Gilchrist waiting at back. You know what I mean? And
Siraj is into Bairstow, who is forward pressing and defending, sort of partly plays the drive but then rehearses the defensive shot as that finds its way to extra cover. No run.
Yeah, so you'd sort of go, oh crikey, you know what I mean? There is something that's, you know, not just someone who looks to leave a lot or just plod along or whatever. You don't really mind bowling at them, but yeah, I make you dead right. With Johnny Bairstow at the crease, you think runs will be coming. Out of nowhere, really, the selection, wasn't it? In a funny sort of way, or not?
As Siraj just passes the stumps to Bairstow, off the pads down to fine leg. As he comes through for 1. Signal leg by? No, it was off the bat, so managed to get forwards and work it away. As he moves to 25, lead of 71, 166 for 3 at the end of the over. Yeah, I don't know if it was a case of, right, after the first 2 test matches against New Zealand, that the lack of experience there. No Ben Stokes, so do we need a bit of experience to just shore up that middle order? Ollie Pope, uncertainty with that injury, so just bringing him back in and knowing with an Ashes round the corner as well. I remember being there, as you were, down under for the last Ashes tour, which was pretty hard to watch, wasn't it? And to broadcast on, because it was one-way traffic. But Johnny Bairstow felt like the best batter on that tour, and he was someone who the Australians actually feared.
Yeah, you feel that he's got a, you know, he's got a punch. He can punch back, you know what I mean? He can hit back instead of just sort of waiting to shrivel up and die a little bit. No, you're right.
Jadeja.
And in the field as well. I mean, I love seeing him running around, you know what I mean? It just gives you a bit of edge.
He comes in and Bairstow works the ball to mid-wicket, no run for the back foot.
Run out, got the run out, you know, he was buzzing around out there, wasn't he? I like him.
But
always have.
It's that intent, isn't it? It's Jadeja. It's through his action to Bairstow on the front foot, defending to the offside, no run.
We are commentators cursing him here, you know that.
Potentially, but you can just see the mindset of him, and previously he was getting himself into a bit of trouble with the ball on the stumps. In that first innings, he was being very disciplined, playing straight as possible, as Jadeja is in again to Bairstow on the back foot and punching the ball to extra cover, no run.
Good player.
And it felt like he was just desperate to stay there, desperate to be there with Joe Root at the other end. And I actually think Joe Root has enjoyed batting with him again, as Bairstow whips the ball wide of mid-on to his right and comes through for a single, and the score moves to 167 for 3, lead of 72, Bairstow to 26.
Yeah, well, it gets a tempo, doesn't it? It's tempo, isn't it? Even with someone you're batting with, you know, it gets you moving, gets you busy. Sometimes you go off in a bit of a lull, you know, when you're just sitting there blocking. You've got to have that, be proactive.
Root lapped sweeps. Jadeja bowling it on the stumps. He gets down, plays it really fine down to the boundary in front of the pavilion. And another 4 for the England captain as he moves to 81, 171 for 3, lead of 76.
Great player of spin, Joe Root. Gets down early. The little glance, really, wasn't even a sort of a shot, was it? It was just put the bat there and let the ball hit it. Interesting bit of keeping from Pat.
What, getting his leg up?
trying to get it, trying to kick it.
Root forward presses and smothers the ball back down the pitch. No run at the end of the over. 171 for 3. Root on 81, Bairstow on 26. A lead of 76. Andy.
That's Joe Root's highest score in a home test since the 5th test against India in 2018, 3 years ago. It's the first time in 26 innings at home since then that he's reached 80, having done so prior to that in home tests once every 5 innings.
Yeah. I think there was that period, wasn't there, where he was happy to be settled in that middle order and have the gloves. I think he understands now that Jos Buttler will be taking the gloves and has that position firmly cemented. And he was pushed up to number 3, where he got the century, and it was through sort of gritted teeth, because he didn't want to be there, but he wanted to show he could get runs in that position, but he still wanted the gloves, didn't he? But I think he has an understanding now that he will be that man in the field and perhaps settle in that middle order. Could he bat higher up the order, though? That's another question, potentially, as Mark Ramprakash has come in for Phil Tufnell. We had a long debate yesterday as to what the setup might be for Lords. It depends on, obviously, who scores runs in this innings. But there are a few options there for England.
Yeah, well, a very good afternoon to you, Isha, and to all the listeners as the players take a well-earned drink. I mean, you mentioned Johnny Bairstow there, and I just feel this innings he's come out and been the player that we know he is, and his mentality is so important. And Johnny, I think, can be a bit of a mood player.
Yeah,
that's not a criticism. What I mean by that is that he can come out and you feel like if he hits a boundary early and then another one, that he's in the mood. All of a sudden the adrenaline's going, his feet are going, and you see him at his belligerent best, someone who can take the attack to any bowling attack around the world. He's good enough to do it. He has been moved up and down the order. He's obviously had the gloves and then not had the wicket-keeping gloves. And, you know, sometimes that can disrupt a player's rhythm in Test cricket and confidence to be in and out of the side. And, of course, I think he put a lot of time and energy into opening the batting for England in the white ball cricket and in that World Cup run. And perhaps took his eye off the ball a little bit in Test cricket. And he's got some work to do to get his Test place back. I think he really has a passion to still play Test cricket. And I think he's an adaptable player. I personally would see him more as a number 5 than a number 3. I think England perhaps have other options. Young Hasib Hamid, I watched bat in the nets at Lord's during the game against New Zealand. He looks every inch an international batsman. So hopefully he's very much in the frame and adding competition to those places at the top of the order. Johnny Bairstow, I think, with his range of shots and his confidence against spin and pace, can be a real ally to the captain, Joe Root, and they've had some big partnerships in international cricket before, and hopefully there are a few to come.
The players have just taken on some drink. Quite overcast here at Trent Bridge. So in the last hour or so, it's just nibbled a bit more for the bowlers. The lights are on, nice breeze blowing across, and an ominous grey cloud perched just in the distance behind the pavilion, but it's been okay so far. We did hear that maybe there were some showers coming after 3 o'clock, but it's been fine, and there's plenty of light here at Trent Bridge. So England will resume 171 for 3 with a lead of 76. Root on 81. He has played quite magnificently just from the offset, really. I mean, when you watch Dom Sibley bat, you think, oh, it's a bit of a struggle out there, but that's just the way he plays. Root came in and off the mark with a gorgeous cover drive, and he was away as Bairstow was on strike to Siraj, who resumes his defensive push back down the pitch past the bowler. No run. He's just hanging on his bat now, and Siraj throughout this Test match is just had a bit about him, hasn't he? He's continued with his run up, and he's continued to walk down towards the batsman that he's been up against and give them a little stare, and Bairstow just hangs on his bat and gives him a stare right back as he shuffles forwards now past the umpire. Bairstow pushes at the ball outside the off stump, another good length delivery. Heads out to extra cover, no run. Andy?
Siraj has been a bit expensive. His last 8 overs before this one have gone for 39 with 8 boundaries. He bowls one of the fullest lengths of any seam bowler in international cricket. So he challenges the batsman, but also risks going for boundaries. I
just wonder if he might use the short ball here to Bairstow. He's someone who can bowl it well, as Bairstow is struck on the back leg, looking to play the ball back down the pitch, but quite high. No run.
Yeah, I was talking about Johnny Bairstow and his temperament, and you saw there Siraj getting in his face a little bit, and Johnny reacted. You could tell the body language, he was engaged. And there is a man at deep square leg, and the threat of the short ball is there for Johnny Bairstow to think about. But I think India may be thinking, well, if we can take his feet away, the Bolden LBW is very much in play. So, it's game on.
Here comes Siraj on the approach, bowls back of a length, just misses the top of off as Bairstow lunges forwards. He has that ball in him that pitches just outside the off stump and diverts back towards the batsman. Rishabh Pant does well, diving to his left to stop it from going all the way to the boundary, but yeah, that is a danger ball from Siraj. It's the wobble ball. He sort of scrambles the seam and it hits the pitch and prodigiously zips back as he's in again now to Bairstow, who's covering his off stump back down the pitch defensive push, no run.
And it's a big test for Johnny Bairstow, isn't it? You know, he's not had much time at the crease in recent weeks. In fact, no red ball cricket to speak of. So to bat now, 26 not out off 45 deliveries, your concentration is being tested, your judgment is being tested about what to attack, what to defend, what to leave. Different field placings from India, and so as good a start as Johnny Bairstow has had, he's still got to maintain that concentration.
Siraj speeds in. Bairstow turns the ball past mid-wicket to his right, out to the deep mid-wicket boundary, deep backward square. Sprinting around to his left, Ravi Jadeja out there takes the ball as Bairstow comes back for 2. At the end of the over, it's 173 for 3 England, a lead of 78 and Bairstow to 28. Some news out of India, receiving their first gold medal in track and field. Neeraj Chopra in the javelin. A wonderful moment for the Indian Olympics team. I think it's 7 medals now that they've clocked up to, which is their most successful games in history. A lot of funding has gone into trying to support Olympic athletes. I think Virat Kohli has a foundation, and I think part of what he does is supports athletes coming through with Rahul Dravid. Pretty sure that's right, as Jadeja will continue from the Radcliffe Road end. Bowls to Root, who's forward lunging and pushing at the ball to the offside, no run. Sure, I think they might have got that news over the lunch interval maybe, or they'll find out at tea anyway, as Root is again on the front foot defending the ball. The left arm spin of Jadeja past the stumps to Root, who's pushing, and this time a bit more intent to try and set off for a single, but sent back by Johnny Bairstow. As he just has a quick look out to the leg side boundary. There is a man at deep backward square in front of the umpire, as he's forward pressing and back into his crease, clipping the ball out to that man for a single. Rolling it slightly shorter on that occasion, Jadeja, as Root moves to 82. Lead of 79 now for England. Bairstow marks out Midland leg as the ball gets tossed around. Jadeja spins himself a catch as he's got 2 more balls left of this over. Crouches in his crease back and works the ball to middle wicket. Johnny Bairstow. Fairly settled crowd here at Trent Bridge. Sort of time it got quite loud yesterday as Bairstow forward presses, struck on the pad. Jadeja turns around, appeals aggressively, given not out. Michael Goff unmoved. Was there an inside edge? As he looked to defend that ball, Virat Kohli decided not to go for the review. They have 1 review remaining at the end of the over. It's 174 for 3 and a lead of 79. Andy?
Both of these players have fine records against Ravindra Jadeja. Johnny Bairstow has only been out once to him in Test cricket, scored 106 runs. Joe Root has been out 5 times to Jadeja, but also scored 323, so average is 64 against his bowling. It might be a sense that Joe Root slowed down a bit recently, but before that over, in which he faced 4 balls, he'd faced only 9 balls in the previous 9 overs.
Just having a look at that replay. It hits the pads. Looks like it's going on to miss the leg stump, so no bat involved, but good call. The angle of that delivery coming from wide with the left arm, as Siraj will continue from the pavilion end. Plenty of energy at the crease as Root tucks one off his hips out to fine leg for 1. Moves to 83, 175 for 3, lead of 80. Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it, for Joe Root, because initially he was getting off strike, and then he knew he wouldn't face another delivery for a while because Dom Sibley was sort of blocking the the deliveries that were coming down. But Johnny Bairstow here, he has been aggressive, but he just hasn't had much strike, that's all. As Siraj on the approach again, past the stumps. Bairstow on the back foot, punching out to deep cover. It's a deep point out there to collect the ball as he comes back for 2. Lead of 82 now, 177 for 3, Bairstow to 30.
And Joe Root's innings today has been a really good example of how an innings can ebb and flow. He came out, he looked fluent at the start. Yes, Dom Sibley struggles to rotate the strike perhaps, so there were periods where he didn't get the strike, and he has slowed down considerably since Johnny Bairstow got to the crease. But he's wise enough and experienced enough to know that he still needs to be patient.
Bairstow pulls a short ball, but straight to the fielder at deep square. Would you believe it? Mohammad Siraj, we thought it might be coming. And he puts his finger to his lips. Mohammad Siraj, as Johnny Bairstow walks past him. Well, he fell for the trap. And that is England's 4th wicket down, 177 on the board.
Well, at this level, in Test cricket, you need to be precise. When that bad ball comes along, you need to really execute the shot. And Johnny Bairstow, as well as he hit that, and he hit it beautifully, swivel pull shot, ball not that short, quite a comfortable height to play the ball shot, but he's hit it straight down to deep square leg, didn't have to move, a fairly comfortable catch. And as well as Bairstow has played for 30, he didn't quite show that concentration that I think the lack of match practice in recent weeks that he has had, or has not had, has seen him pay the price with his wicket now.
It's smart bowling, isn't it? I mean, we were talking about it the over before, whether he might just throw one in there, a short one, and just tempt him into the shot. You know that he likes to play that stroke.
Well, there was no doubt that when Johnny Bairstow arrived at the crease, the theatre amongst the Indian fielders went through the roof. There was a lot to say. Virat Kohli was involved. They know that if they talk a lot, that Johnny can get engaged in that sort of battle. And Johnny Bairstow played some fantastic shots, don't get me wrong. But the adrenaline was flowing. Short ball came along and he took it on. And India have managed to find success when really there wasn't a lot happening with the ball. The pitch is calmed down considerably. The ball is 57 overs old, and the seamers were really struggling to make anything happen. So it's a mistake on Bairstow's part, and it's a shame for England's point of view that a productive partnership has come to an end.
Well, Dan Lawrence is out in the middle now. A few more words from you, and then it will be Simon Mann.
Rams, I was going to ask about the sort of concentration side of batting you were talking about with Johnny Bairstow. Since he came back into the side in Sri Lanka, he's had scores of 47, 35 not out, 28, 29, a couple of ducks, 28, another duck, 29 and 30. So there's a lot of starts, reached 25 there in seven innings, and yet hasn't reached 50 yet. I mean, no, he's not played much red ball cricket. How easy or difficult is it to sort of train yourself for that as Simon Mann comes in, as Siraj bowls?
There's Lawrence playing that up towards mid-on, and there is no run. Lawrence, of course, is on a pair. That strangle down the leg side in the first innings.
Sorry, I wasn't sure you were going to be ready for that, Simon. You seem to be looking at the floor.
I was looking for my pen. It's underneath the...
We weren't sure you'd taken guard yet, actually.
There we go.
But it's a great question you mentioned, and looking at those scores from Bairstow. Yeah, concentration is a skill, and it's a habit, and you look to work on that in your practice days. But of course, Bairstow's emphasis...
Here's Siraj bowling to Lawrence outside the off stump. Lawrence lifts the bat high and lets it go through to punt.
Bairstow's emphasis in probably the last 18 months, 2 years, has shifted hugely towards practicing white ball cricket and scoring very quickly, and he's done a brilliant job for England at the top of the order in 50 over cricket and 20 over cricket. So I suppose those results and those scores are telling in that how difficult it is to then make that transition to Test cricket and keep concentration for long periods of time.
Siraj, and good light now, bowls to Lawrence, clips that towards mid-wicket. And there's no run. There were 3 balls left in that over for Lawrence to face, and he's survived them, but he's still on 0, and I suppose there must be a question mark over his place as far as the next test is concerned. There's Pope in the background. Does he come back into the side? And if he does, who does he replace? Does he replace Bairstow, who sort of replaced him, if you like? Or do they say, no, we're going to bring Pope back for Lawrence if Lawrence fails again? He's on 0. He's had, what 4 innings this summer in Test cricket and 3 ducks and an 81 not out. So what do you do? Well, perhaps you decide after this innings, see how he shapes up. Here's Jadeja bowling to Root, squeezes out a full ball into the offside with an open face towards backward point, picked up by Rohit Sharma. India for Root, they just have a slip in, then it's quite a defensive field. There's 3 on the offside, 2 on the on, saving a single. There's a deep forward square leg out, I should say, and a deep point. Here is Jadeja to Root, who comes forward and eases the ball away into the offside, straight to cover. And there is no run. So the game's right back in the balance again. England 82 runs ahead, 4 wickets in hand. That rain that we were promised this afternoon hasn't materialised yet, which is great news. It's a really interesting game of cricket. Here is Jadeja bowling to Root. Root nudges that away, backward a square. Lawrence says, yes, I'll come for that. And Root, I think, was a bit surprised to see Lawrence coming, but he got the single. It went down to short fine leg and Siraj. It's one of those probably in one-day cricket, you take them the whole time, especially in T20. Test cricket, I don't know, it's funny how the mindset changes. I suppose your wicket in some sense is over 20 overs. You take more risks, obviously, than you do in Test cricket. But anyway, they got home easily for that single. 178 for 4. The lead to 83. And Lawrence yet to score on a pair. Faces up. Oh, a beautiful delivery from Jadeja. That one spun, I think, the first time. Went past the outside edge and through to Pandey, whipped off the bails. And Lawrence is sort of shaking his head and there's a smile on his face. How much did this turn? Yeah, it did straighten. It definitely straightened. We haven't seen much of that so far from Jadeja. It was really hurled down. You see the pace on it.
58 miles an hour.
Yeah, so that was really bowled into the pitch. Jadeja into Lawrence, who gets his first run there, squeezes it away off a thick outside edge, down towards deep third. Rohit Sharma's after. They might get 3 here. Root says no. Root was coming back for the third, and then I'm not going to take that one on. It's one of those that I think he might have got there, but that's not good. There might have been 3. Rohit was way in the distance there.
Well, given the Pleaverous delivery and how sharply it turned, there's a deep cover for the new batsman Dan Lawrence and no gully. And as I say that, the gully's coming in, which is a bit late. Normally Virat Kohli is ahead of the game. I think with the new batsman, they really should have been attacking him.
180 for 4. The lead 85. Jadeja bowls to Lawrence. That's full on his pads. Clipped away. Siraj dives at short fine leg. Can't stop it. It's going for 4. Well, that was a little bonus there for Lawrence. It wasn't a great delivery on the pads, and he got enough on it, and Siraj couldn't quite stop it away to his right-hand side. So Lawrence goes to 6. It does seem strange, actually, they had it for Sibley earlier as well, the deep point. It just seems inexplicable. Michael was mentioning it, and for the new man, Lawrence. Whether if they'd had the gully and whether it had been a catch, it seems that it might have gone on the bounce to the fielder there in the gully, because it did go very low. But he's a new player.
You set the tone.
Yeah,
absolutely. The captain sets the tone, and it's a fielding position. The deep cover is a fielding position they use a lot in Asia to keep the scoring rate under control with the left arm spin. But when it's slightly short, you get cut, and it's only 1 to the deep man. But I felt he should have been up, and absolutely in Test cricket you really go after the new player, because those first 20-25 balls are so difficult because of the quality of the bowling.
184 for 4. Here's Siraj, 2 for 66, running into bowl to Root. Root playing a nice, calm, assured defensive shot back up the pitch to Siraj, who picks up, and there's no run. You can understand having the man back for Root, but for Sibley and for Lawrence, and you can understand having back for Bairstow as well, but for Lawrence at the start and for Sibley perhaps throughout, it seemed a bit odd. Anyway, on we go. And Siraj goes into bowl to Root. He's there on 84. And Root opens the face, tries to run it past Rohit Sharma in the gully. Rohit dives and stops it. Right in the game this afternoon, Rohit Sharma. For most of the match, he's been standing at an orthodox second slip, but he's been standing in the gully at backward point, and the ball's come to him a lot this afternoon.
Particularly off Joe Root, who likes to play in that area. It's a favoured area with the ball outside off stump. He plays it quite late and looks to run it down there, and he can rotate the strike very effectively. Rohit in that position right in the game.
Siraj bowls to Root. Root clips that into the onside. A dive at mid-wicket. It's unsuccessful. Goes out towards wide mid-on. They go through for a single. Root to 85. The highest score in the match so far. Going past KL Rahul's 84 in India's first innings. Root with back-to-back half centuries. 64 in the first innings. The way he was playing actually was quite a tame dismissal to Shardul Thakur. They're going to clip the ball through the leg side at LBW on umpire's call on leg stump. And Dan Lawrence is checking his guard. 3 slips in for Lawrence, and a short mid-wicket as well, and a forward square leg. Here's Siraj bowling to Lawrence. Goes off the thigh pad, I think, into the onside. We'll wait for the signal. Yeah, there's going to be a leg by signalled. Punt was after it from behind the stumps. 1 more run to the total. England up to 186 for 4. The lead is 91. Lawrence stays on 6.
You were talking earlier about Dan Lawrence, and he'll be well aware of the conjecture about selection and the competition for places. I mean, all that he can control is trying to concentrate on his innings today. He's got a good opportunity.
Siraj bowls to Root. Root chops it away down towards deep third. India have a fielder at deep backward point. Shardul Thakur down there, who goes away to his left-hand side and hurls it in. And Root comes back for 2 runs. He's on to 87. There's still 50 overs available to us today, so bags of cricket. It's a question of what the weather's going to do, whether the weather's going to be kind to us. It hasn't been that kind during this test match so far, and I suppose the light later on as well. But given a fair wind, it could be in for a thrilling day and a half. Here's Siraj bowling to Root. Root tries to dab a single into the offside, a bit too close to cover that time. KL Rahul stops it with his boot, and that is the end of the over. We're 20 overs away from the new ball, and England are 188 for 4 with Root on 87. It's full house on this Saturday at Trent Bridge. I dare say a few came along today worried about the forecast. They'd have heard it. Talk of showers throughout the day, but we've had nothing at all, nothing. An uninterrupted day's play. And out today, Burns 18, Sibley 28, Crawley 6, and Bairstow 30. And Root has been the main man again for England, as he was in the first innings. It's going to be Jadeja to continue. Crawley's just getting something off one of the 12th men. Is it Mark Wood running back there? It's back to us. He was doing some play acting in front of the pavilion earlier, where they were throwing gloves down to him and he was dropping them. A bit like England's fielding in the first innings of India in this match. Right, Crawley's on strike. There are 2 slips in, or a slip and a gully if you like. Jadeja bowls. Crawley clips that firmly into the onside, but straight to mid-wicket. And there is no run. 188 for 4. Jadeja again moves in and bowls to Crawley. This time plays it off the back foot, tries to guide it through the offside, too close to cover. And there's no... Did I say Crawley?
Yes.
I meant Lawrence, of course.
Been a long day, Simon.
It's a long test match. Jadeja bowls and Lawrence is forward. Oh, he sets off for a single, sent back, and the bails are off. They'll just check this. I think he got back. Lawrence dived to make his ground. Root sent him back. It was a
TV umpire.
A shot play just to the left of cover.
An umpire review for run out. If you can give me your best side on angle, please.
One thing's for sure, if Root had gone, it'd have been a long way out.
Oh, his bat's up over the line. Yeah, I think he's going to be okay.
They've got the back grounded behind the line. Stumps are broken. Now we can go for the big screen, please.
It needed the full dive, though, from Dan Lawrence.
Yeah, but if Joe Root had trusted the call, Joe would have been metres out. I'm staggered with this field. You've got Dan Lawrence and came out on a pair. Right, he's got 6 now. Pressure of the game, pressure of his position in the side. He got cover point on the boundary.
Yeah, we've just been talking about it.
You have a short leg, don't you?
Yeah. It does seem strange.
I think India have had an iffy hour and a half in terms of tactics.
Direct hit and Lawrence would have been out, but it was thrown to the base of the stumps and then whipped off the bails. England lead by 93. Jadeja bowls to Lawrence. Lawrence gets that back out in front of the pad, pushes it into the offside, picked up by Jadeja away to his left-hand side.
Just got to be careful here. Lawrence is getting over to that offside with his feet. He'll target his pads.
Jadeja bowls. Lawrence drives out to cover. No throw, whipping in from cover. Virat Kohli there. Enjoying himself out from slip. It's nice to actually have a break from slip. Jadeja bowls. Lawrence tips us into the onside this time. Jadeja tries to stop with his boot and collides with Root. Root was saying, well, I suppose it is the first day of the football season. It felt like a strong challenge. I think it might have been a yellow card, that actually, possibly even a red from Jadeja on Root. It went up towards mid-on. Root's got a smile on his face.
What's your team got, Simon, today, mate? City starting. Just having a look.
Home to Blackpool.
Big game.
It's 0-0. Oh, you're playing later, are you, Charlton?
Well, yeah. Big teams play on television.
What, in the lower leagues?
Well, I worry about that. Apparently the British Lions are playing at around 5 o'clock, is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Sheffield Wednesday on television at 5:30. It's going to take a lot of viewers away from the cricket and the Lions. Away at Charlton, thriller.
Yeah, just one note actually on the Lions playing today. Miles Harrison is going to be commentating on that match. He's had some serious health problems recently. It's great to see him back. I think he's in front of the microphone today. Former BBC radio commentator. Great to have him back. Here is Shami into bowl to Root. Swing this away. He's going to be caught. Is he? No, just short of Jadeja coming in from deep forward square leg. Goodness me, Bairstow went that way and Root very nearly as well.
I just feel that India are one away really from pushing towards that victory. This wasn't quite high enough. He just went to just time it. That top edge, Jadeja is like a gazelle and he ran in quickly.
189 for 4. Root escapes. He goes to 88. Dan Lawrence. Those 3 slips go down. Shami shuffling into bowl, and Lawrence stands up and pushes that into the offside out towards cover.
Just say the pitches certainly look like the best day for batting today. It's not done a great deal through the air. There's not been as much playing and missing. You always felt that days 1, 2 and 3 you were almost commentating a play and miss every over. Not been much of that today.
There's still enough there for the bowlers to work with, though, isn't there?
Yeah, just enough. It's a good pitch.
Yeah,
really good cricket wicket.
So you're in the game as a bowler still. Shami bowls and Lawrence plays that up towards mid-off, and there is no run. How big an innings is this for Dan Lawrence?
Yeah, it's big. He'll know. You've got Ollie Pope, who I believe is going to be fit for the second Test match. Johnny Bairstow played okay, didn't he? Something about Bairstow that I like at 5. No Ben Stokes at the moment. Just think having that bit of experience there at 5. I like Bairstow at 5.
But presumably if Pope had been fit, he would have played rather than Bairstow?
Yeah, so it's kind of worked well for
Shami bowls. 4 goes Lawrence, playing that towards mid-wicket, and there's no run. Jadeja picks up.
Yeah, it's worked well for I mean, he's not got a big score, but in both innings he looked pretty good. He's been a part of a couple of nice partnerships in the game. Who knows what they'll do, Simon? There's all sorts of question marks. Hameed, will he come in for Sibley, for Crawley? Who knows what they're going to do?
Well, do they know what they're going to do yet? Probably not, and have a look at it at the end of the game and see see what their options are, see what the result of the match is as well. Chamois bowls, played away by Lawrence towards forward square leg, and there's no run. They're getting excited in the aeroplane.
It's gone out the ground.
Beach ball going on the back, and it's gone out the back.
Yeah,
the wind has blown it out.
It's not a great day for beach balls.
There's a strong breeze.
Well, they've almost chosen the wrong side of the ground to start it from. They need to start from the newsstand. That could have gone all the way across the pitch and into the, what's it called, the stand on the left?
Well, I think it's that one.
No, that's not got a name, I don't think. That's just the newsstand.
That's the newsstand. I call that the aeroplane wing stand.
All right, the wing stand, yeah.
Here's Chamois outside the off stump. Nothing from Lawrence. And through to punt. That's the end of the over. 189 for 4. Root has 88. Lawrence has 6. More from you, Michael. And then it will be Daniel Norcross.
Yeah, 94 for 4, really. England are not 194 for 4 in terms of the second innings, but it's that lead that's the most important aspect. 94. The skipper Joe Root is playing a blinder. 88 from 121. He's played gloriously. It's been a different game. Joe Root's been on strike. Timed the ball glorious through that offside with his driving, those little touches down to third man. Good afternoon, Dan.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry. Good afternoon. Jadeja is preparing to start a new over with Root on 88. He gets a very full delivery, digs out into the offside, square of the wicket, and there's no run. Apparently, I was told by Stefan Schemmelt, it's 9 years to the day since Kevin Peterson's 100 at Headingley. As Jadeja is in, forward comes Root, pushes into the covers, there's no run, when he famously said, "It isn't easy being me." And he was sort of carrying the England team that day, and Joe Root's doing it today. In comes Jadeja short, cut away by Root. Out to the sweeper on the cover boundary, one more to him, and to the total 89. He moves to 190 for 4.
Well, the field that they had set for Joe Root is pretty much a field that you're just hoping as a team that he makes a mistake. Just a slip. Ringfield on the offside with cover point on the boundary. Ringfield on the onside, including a short fine with a square leg on the boundary. 2 slips for Lawrence.
Jadeja in again. Lawrence advances and works the ball to short mid-wicket as Jadeja drops it a bit shorter. It's 59 miles an hour. No run. 2 slips in. Jadeja in. Lawrence defends. Back to the bowler. There's no run. You don't get much opportunity to speak in a Jadeja over, do you?
No, it's good for the over, eh?
It's very good. Last ball of the over coming up. And Lawrence goes back and cuts it away down towards the deep backward point boundary for 4. That's a good shot. Got it to the left of point along the ground. Boost to double figures. 194 for 4. The lead now 99.
Yeah, that's good play because he kind of shimmied as if he was going to come down the wicket. I think Jadeja saw that. And he fired it in just a little bit shorter. Pulls it quickly. Jadeja around 50 miles, 9 miles an hour. He just glided it. Really good play. And looking at Lawrence on a pitch that's not doing a great deal for the team, it's a great chance for him here.
Yeah, what has happened to this pitch today? It's looked a little easier to bat on, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's always the odd ball there, but it certainly has looked nice to play your strokes on. Not as much swing through the air.
No, not seeing that extravagant movement, have we? That we've seen on previous days. We've had a bit of jag back in, haven't we? From
see Virat's off the pitch. We've got Ajinkya Rahane now in charge. Where's Virat gone? Rahane, who took over the reins in Australia after the first Test match, that first Test in the day-night game at the Adelaide Oval, where they were blown away. Virat went back to the birth of his first child.
Chamois runs in to start a new over, and Root dabs this up and into the ground and over Gully, who gets a hand on it, and they get through for one more. Root into the 90s. It's 90, 195 for 4. The lead 100.
Looking at 16.5 overs to that second new ball. Virat's just sat in the stands, just having a bit of a breather. Lead by 100. That's the applause you can hear around the ground. Yeah, 16.5 overs to that second new ball.
Where did Andy suddenly disappear to?
I don't know.
Is it quiz related? No. Okay. Here comes Shammy. In again. 2 slips. This time for Lawrence, who works this into the onside, straight to that mid-wicket. And there's no run. Another gripping passage of play. The game still on a knife edge. The wickets that England have lost in this session have been very odd ones. Sibley, after hours and hours of patient concentration, suddenly driving at a wide one, getting an inside edge. Brilliantly caught by Punt. And then Bairstow playing a superbly fluent innings, moosing the ball straight to deep square leg. As Shammy is in, that beats the bat, a beauty. That did move away past the edge of Lawrence's bat, playing slightly on the walk, isn't he here? So slightly advancing is Lawrence.
Yeah, he's got a funny technique. He's a little bit like he's batting on rollerblades at times.
Oh, that's a ball though. Just seen the replay of that. It's straightened, it's coming in on the angle and then beat the outside edge.
One thing for sure about Lawrence is you always feel that his mindset is looking to score all the time, which can be offering opportunities to the opposition, but still keep that scoreboard ticking.
Here is Shammy, and that's edged and the ground picked up at second slip. No run.
India aren't far away here. They've just got to continue to keep bowling with discipline. And you'd think that Rahane now and Virat Kohli, when he's out there, we're saying to his team, come on, 2 wickets. Get one, get Butler.
Yeah, well, the rain has stayed away. There's very much a chance of a result in this match, despite all the time we've lost.
Oh, we're in for a classic, I reckon.
Feels like it, doesn't it? It's bubbling up, Michael. Here comes Shammy, running in towards us. Lawrence on strike. Lawrence clips this away. Fine. Down to the boundary for 4. Beats fine leg. An authentic leg glance. Moves to 14. England 199 for 4. The lead 104.
Yeah, they've given him a couple on that leg stump. One from Jadeja and now one from Shammy that's got his boundary counts going. He likes it there. Leg stump half volley. See what Shammy's trying to do. He's trying to fire in that 4 straight ones, trying to get him out LBW. With that one shot, square legs going on the boundary, so now a big vacant space on the onside. They've changed the field a lot, this Indian side.
Shammy's in. Lawrence drives nicely through the covers. It's running away towards the boundary. There's a chase on, and it's hauled in. Just inside, a couple of yards inside. And they get through for 3 more. 202, the 200 up. Lawrence to 17, route 90. Over on the BBC Sport website now, you can hear commentary on Southern Brave against Northern Superchargers in the 100. The women's game now, then the men's match later will also be on 5 Live Sports Extra. You can also watch video clips from both games and, of course, events here at Trent Bridge on the cricket section of the website.
That was a nice shot. Pujara chasing after it. Oh, he looked like he had a parachute on.
Yes, he's not the most nimble runner, let's say. It's a bit different from Bairstow. Bairstow looks like his intent is extraordinary.
Yeah.
He's chasing a mugger.
Oh, Thakkur's going to go into the attack.
Now, he got a bit of swing in the first innings.
I think he's had a little bit of a niggle. He went off the pitch and I could see him talking closely to the physio. Just bowled the 7 overs. 7 overs, 0 for 12 in this innings. Don't know what the niggle is, but clearly got some kind of issue.
Well, England are building a lead, but it's still a relatively slender one. 107, but India very keen to break this partnership, which is now put on 25. The game scintillatingly poised. 2 slips are in, widely spaced. Lawrence on strike. Thacker bowls on the channel, just misses the off stump. Through to the keeper, no run. Root's innings today, Michael. It's been as good as I think you can play, hasn't it? Oh, it's a no ball first up, another run for England. 203 for 4. It's been about as good an innings as you can play, hasn't it?
Yeah, pure. It's just been a beautiful innings to watch. Just it's made batting look so easy. I think the pressure of the game when he came in, he's just play with so much ease.
Here comes Thakur on the pads. Worked away nicely by Lawrence. Going to pick up a couple here as it goes to the left of long leg. England to 205 for 4. Lawrence to 19.
See, I don't know quite what India are trying to do here with the seamers. Are they going to try and bowl into channel and try and nullify Dan Lawrence in terms of outside the off stump, or are they going to go straight? And if they're going to go straight, they bring the cover point on the boundary up, have another fielder on the onside. Just looks like they're covering both bases here. They're not quite sure what their absolute plan is.
Thakur runs away from us. Bowls, and Lawrence pushes into the offside, straight to the cover. No run. Yes, it's not a clear plan, is it, at the moment?
I mean, I'd be tempted if I was India just to bowl right into channel, just restrict. You know, almost say to England what you're going to do. You know they're going to play strokes. It's the way they go about the business.
Yeah, they've sort of been targeting the stumps, which is understandable. How many wickets have we had caught in the slips, Andy? The first one was yesterday, wasn't it?
Just one slip catch, 9 catches by wicketkeepers.
Thakur is in again on the pads, clipped away nicely. This will be another couple of runs for Lawrence, almost identical on the pads. Work to deep backwards square. He moves to 21, 206, 7 for 4.
Well, if they want to bring all the dismissals in, they go, right, OK, we're going to hit off stump. And you bring your cover point on the boundary up on the 1, you bring your cover point who's there on the catch over to probably square leg, bring your mid wicket in on the catch and say, OK, we're going to go for LBWs, maybe flicks on the onside, but at the minute they're just straying onto the leg side with not a great deal of cover for them.
Thakur is in, and again on the pads, and that's been walloped away gloriously by Lawrence for 4. That was just in front of square on this occasion, and he likes it there. That's a fantastic shot. He moves to 25. England 211 for 4, the lead 116.
Well, they are going to move another fielder to the onside. This has been a horrendous over. I can only presume that Thakur's got a niggle, because it's been quite a lot of dribble that's just fed Dan Lawrence exactly where he wants it, on leg stump, no real pace, there's no fielder out there. It's like, thank you very much. He's moved to 25 off 31.
19 from his last 11 balls.
Thank you, Andy. Here is Thakur. And Lawrence. Oh, it's struck on the pad. That looks close, Kevin. Michael Goff raises the finger after an horrendous previous 5 deliveries. The 6th ball has taken a wicket. Now Lawrence is chatting to Root. I think he's referred it, but I would be surprised if some part of the ball is not hitting some part of the stumps. Michael Goff did not even, he didn't think about it.
We have a player amazed as this is missing the stumps.
Original decision is out. It's a fair delivery, so can we have a look at front on, please?
So, here we go. He didn't refer immediately, so I don't think he'll have an inside edge on it. We're watching the replay now. That's hit on the knee roll and bounced down. It's in line, definitely.
Okay, let's confirm that with Ultra Edge, please.
Seeing it on the big screen is...
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a flat line. Yeah, clear daylight, all the way through to the pad. If we can go to ball tracking when ready, please.
No bat involved. It's a good bit of bowling, and it's
Pitching
out. It's
outside
hitting.
line, impacting line, wickets hitting. Go back to Michael on field to stay with your original decision. You're on screen now, Michael.
Yes, one of the easy decisions that Michael Goff will make. England have burned a review, and Dan Lawrence, after, hitting his previous 11 balls for 19 runs, is out. LBW. And every time England get into a position of, not comfort, but relative strength, they lose a wicket. It's happened time and time again.
Yeah, he played a few nice strokes. 25 from 32. He's gifted. He's gifted to play cameo innings.
What's he done wrong there? Is it just leaning over too much on the offside?
I think his head's just gone, the ball's nipped back. I think he was excited with the fact he was scoring so quickly. Probably just in his mind forgot that, you do get good balls in Test cricket and you've got to have a technique to be able to withstand it.
Well,
Josh Buttler now.
He's also on a pair.
Yeah.
One of 4 Englishmen on a pair.
Yeah, so is Virat. Virat's on a golden.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue for Dan Lawrence because it was promising. I just look at that technique and just think he's got to iron it out of how he can become more consistent. Just a little bit all over the place. It looks great, playing the flamingo flicks through the onside. I don't know, they'll say, Peterson played in that fashion. Kevin Peterson could survive.
But he does. He plays a lot on the leg side, doesn't he? And it's an issue. He's falling over. And some good bit of bowling as well, you've got to say.
Yeah, it's the first one that he's got anywhere near. It's been an awful over. He just kind of floated up there. Now he's found that length. Not going to be easy for Butler.
No. Well, he had a pretty scratchy, what was it, 18 ball duck, was it, in the first innings? Thanks, Andy. I'm just looking at England's scorecard here, looking at how many people have got in and then got out. Burns 18 from 49 balls, Sibley 28 from 133, Bairstow 30 from 50, Lawrence 25 from 32. Only Root has gone on. 211 for 5. England precariously placed again. The lead of 116. Thakur into Butler. His first delivery. Defends into the offside. End of the over. 211 for 5. As I say, the lead 116. Andy.
Well, thus far in England's innings, you mentioned 4 players have reached 25, but only Root has gone beyond 30. In the first innings, same thing happened. 4 players reached 25. Crawley, Root, Bairstow and Sam Curran, although he was left not out, but only Root progressed beyond the score of 30 that Bairstow made in this second innings.
I guess that's what their averages at the minute suggest, that every now and again they'll get a 50 or so, but they'll get a few low scores and 20s. And Dan Lawrence looks to me, he's got some talent. He's got the eye for the ball. It's just that technique early. I don't think you're going to, you're not going to have a test career by getting flamboyant 25s off 30 balls.
Joe Root's faced 25 balls in the last 17 overs.
Right, Bumrah into the attack. Root on strike. Root works this into the onside. Straight to mid-wicket. There's no run. I've just been sent the quiz questions.
Ooh.
Very excited. It's silly pointless at tea today.
Just give me an idea of the kind of difficulty.
Well, I would say medium difficulty.
Can you give me a question just so I won't give the answer, so I won't ruin it.
I'm not sure I can.
I won't know the answer.
I think you might just have a look, because if I sort of say the question now, then the chances are that somebody who's playing it might be listening and then go and find the answer.
Oh, quite tricky.
Bumrah is in. That's down the leg side. Did he get anything on it? It's half stopped by punt, and I think a leg bye is about to be signalled. So England have picked up another run. No, it's not. It's a bye, but it is another run. 212 for 5. The lead 117. Every run now feels quite precious.
I've got a question.
You have.
That's quite easy.
But no, don't. Be disciplined, Michael. We don't want any sort of, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire scandals. Thank you.
Right, Butler to Bumrah out in that first innings.
Has Bumrah come on here because they're sensing a bit of blood?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, 3 slips and a gully in place. Bumrah is into Butler. And Butler, plays at that outside the off stump, shortish ball, pushed back up the wicket, there's no run. There are times when Butler plays that shot, it gives you a sort of optical illusion of getting an edge on it. Did you think that, Andy, as well? It's very odd. There's something about the way he plays it.
I get a sense that Butler's strolled out there Saturday afternoon, Trent Bridge, game on a knife edge with an intent. I think Virat's noticed that. He's put a short extra cover from Gully in position. 3 slips.
Here comes Bumrah. Butler waiting, bat raised. Butler's beaten on the outside edge. He gets a whole sort. It's like star shape. It's a starfish shape.
He's pulled the towel from under his feet.
Yes, exactly that. So it's a no ball. We've seen a few of those from Bumrah. How many has he bowled in this match? I'm sorry, Andy.
5 in this innings, 1 in each of his first 4 overs, but that was the first one since then, and this is 14.
What colour pen do you do? It's a no ball.
Black pen. He bowled 2 in the first innings.
Black pen. Here comes Bumrah into Butler. Butler gets it off the mark. He's off the pair, and he's where that actually he's off the pair with a boundary. Is it going to be? No, it's just going to be cut off.
Oh, that's terrible fielding.
It is. That was poor from Siraj. He was running around from long leg. A bit of a fast bowler's bend down there, and the ball just rolled onto the boundary sponge, and Butler's off the mark. 217 for 5, the lead 122. For people of a certain vintage, I don't know if you share this, Michael and Andy, but when a lead gets to 130, that's when I believe England are in with a chance of winning, because it's all Headingley 1981. It's always been my benchmark. Well, Bumrah in, slightly wide of the crease, played into the offside by Butler, straight to that short extra cover, and there's no run.
If you were going to do a bad piece of fielding, he's chosen the wrong quartet of the ground to do so. It's right in front of the noisy section.
Yes. I don't think they're going to let him forget. Kohli's back out there.
Freddie Mercury's all there in the stand. Must do a good rendition every afternoon.
A few of them. There's also a gorilla, rather concerning gorilla I've seen wandering around. Last ball over, Bumrah into Butler. Butler drives for 4. Glorious shot, square of the wicket. There's an authentic square drive, and that's more like it. That's what Butler was looking for in the first innings. He had to reach a little for that, but he's crunched it to the boundary. 221 for 5. Butler 8, Root 90, the lead 126. More from Michael, and then to take you up to tea, it's going to be Jonathan Agnew.
Yeah, that's a glorious shot. I just get a sense that Jos Buttler has come out with an intent of really staring at the ball to score. His first innings was a hard watch. He just didn't look like he had any kind of rhythm, any kind of movement. And then he snicked a decent one from Jasprit Bumrah. And this innings not as much swing, ball's not zipping off the surface as much, so it gives him a better chance. Good afternoon, Jonathan.
Yes, Michael, up we go towards tea then, which is at 5-2. The lead 126, lights on. And Thakur bowls outside the off stump, and England's captain Joe Root 10 away from 100 allows that to go by. It's in contrast really, isn't it? He played very fluently in the first innings, made it look like a different pitch. He's done it again here. Lawrence will be too thrilled to see his dismissal. It's a straight ball really. Bairstow pulling out to the boundary at deep square leg. He certainly hit it hard. Thakur on his way, bowls, and Root clips that away out to mid-wicket.
You were saying in a text message to me, Jonathan, I don't know if you've spoken about it or not, about the solution to Bud Light.
Well, look, I've tried to come up with something, because you were quite agreeably, understandably grumpy last night about the light again. We've had it for a while, haven't we? Well, we've had it for years, if we're honest. I remember Fred Truman and Trevor Bailey trunching on about it when I first started doing this. 221 for 5. Thakur bowls on off stump, and Root comes carefully forward, plays out to cover. Well, I just thought about things last night, really. What can we do? That's safety, really, isn't it? You know, how can you play in poor light safely? And I don't like the idea of changing the ball, because the ball is the ball that you've got, and there'll be arguments about it. And I think you should play with a ball that you changing it to a pink one. So I know it's possible, but that wouldn't work for me unless you had, I don't know, your own pink ball or something. But then it needs to age. Turned away down towards square leg by Root. He'll pick up one more. It needs to age, doesn't it? It needs to age with the game. So who chooses the ball? I can just see there being ructions about that.
What about to start with the pink ball?
Play the whole thing with a pink ball. I'm not sure how durable are they at the moment.
Well, all I say, try and get the manufacturers around the world to make a better pink ball if the ones that we're using at the minute aren't quite as durable as you're suggesting.
But can you see it easier? I don't think spectators see it easier.
I think you do. I like the pink ball. Anyway, what's your solution?
Oh, well, it's been sort of, I wouldn't say roundly condemned. Because Thakur bowls, and that's played by Root down to mid-off. It didn't quite get the backing that I hoped when I unveiled it to Michael Holding and Kumar Sangakkara this morning.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't say it was ridiculed, but they listened, perhaps just politely, for a moment, but no, the BS theory.
BS?
Yeah, bad light scheme. Was simply to try and keep some safety in it. And apologies if you have heard this before out there in listener land, but Ingo Thakur bowls outside the off stump. Michael obviously didn't hear it. I'm interested in your thoughts. Okay, so at the point in which the umpires would normally go off, they've got their light meters, and it's the umpire's decision these, isn't it? Off they go.
Yeah.
Right, we're thinking about safety, but playing more safely in bad light. So they make a gesture to the scorers, all right, and at that point you go into bad light scheme mode. Okay, so BS comes up on the scoreboard in big letters. Everyone knows.
Any sirens go off?
No sirens.
No.
You're now playing under BS conditions.
Okay.
In which fast bowlers can bowl one ball that would normally be one for the over. One short hostile delivery. They've got one.
Okay, so you can only bowl one bouncer.
When playing in BS.
Yep.
Watch Bumrah. From the pavilion end, moves in, bowls, Root waiting for impact raised, turns into the leg side, there's no run. So he's got one short one.
Yep.
If he bowls another one, he's off until you go into normal regulations again. He can't bowl again in BS. He's got one. But the thing is, you've got maybe 4 fast bowlers out there, and you could bowl 2 to get yourself off. Well, the point of that being that the batsman knows that there's a chance he might get a short one, so he can't just go lobbing forward and smash the ball around in BS. He knows there is a short one around. And as I say, with 4 quick bowlers, here's Bumrah and bowls, it's played away into the offside. So that's my thought, that you can still have enough hostility about the cricket, but not sort of a sustained danger. So that would be my thought. And therefore, if you bowl one in BS, that's it. If you bowl another, off straight away.
And realistically, in BS, it's going to be that you're going to be pitching the ball up more because it's dark and lights are on, so you're not going to really want to bowl the bouncer.
No, you're not. But the batsman needs to know that actually he might get one. There's Bumrah again. From the pavilion end is there, and he bowls, and Root looks to steer this down to gully, which he does, and picks up a run too, because Pujara's down there on the boundary. So one more to England's captain. 92 now, Butler on 8, 223 for 5.
Why Kumar Sangakkara and Michael Holland, why did they kind of...
Well, because they sort of got the idea of it, but then Kumar said, what happens to that second one that they bowl if he basically hits the batsman in a bad way, knocks his head, injures him badly, maybe a career ender, when you've accepted the fact that you're in BS, so therefore that the light isn't very good, you get a lawyer on the case, and that could be that. In comes Bumrah and bowls outside the off stump and whistles past the outside edge of Butler. Doesn't take the edge though. Punt collects it, 223 for 5. So in these litigious times, how do you get around that?
Well, it's difficult.
It is.
But do you really think it'd ever get to that stage?
Where a batsman would sue the authority for playing in conditions that they know are not perfect. Get a good lawyer on the case. Bumrah bowls wide of the off stump, cracked away square. Nice shot from Butler, had to reach for it. He certainly hit it hard enough.
Danger signs here for India. He's looking in the mood, Jos Butler. The problem I have with the light is that we know, and we've seen many times where light comes in and it genuinely is difficult. And it generally is harder. And you think, it's just not fair on the team that's batting.
Yep.
But I think over the last year or so in English conditions, we've seen teams go off in light. You go, really?
Yeah.
It's not dangerous. There's not been balls that fizz past the nose end or past the outside edge on a regular basis.
Bumrah bowls short this time. Butler on the back foot. Doesn't time a forcing shot, which trickles out to point.
A perfect example was just 2 nights ago where Rishabh Pant came out to bat.
Yep.
Jimmy Anderson, one of the greatest to ever have played the game. He dances down to him and whacked him over extra cover to get off the mark, and an over too late, we're off.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a way in which it is
I like
safer.
BS. I like
BS?
Yeah, I like BS. Yeah.
There'll be some sort of signal,
Yeah.
and then We're playing under BS conditions, the umpire would say.
I like the fact that the BS is going to be on the big screen.
On the big screen.
So
you can't have BLS, it wouldn't fit. It can only be bad light scheme. So BS.
BS, yeah, I like it.
Flashes on there, and everyone knows.
Andy, do you like it? Andy likes anything that just means... Well, he likes anything that just gets the game on and playing.
You've got to do something. Yeah. But then the bowler has got something up his sleeve, and the batsman knows that he has. Thakur's on his way and bowls to Root, plays out very late. So the ball runs away square into the offside, doesn't go to cover, which would have been no run, but there's a gap there, he knew it, and just a little guidance of the bat and picks up 1 run.
It's been pretty much the afternoon session, isn't it? That India have kind of gone, right, Joe, you can have one, we'll try and target the other end.
He hasn't had much strike. I'm interested to, especially when Simon Bairstow was batting, didn't it? That he lost a lot of the strike.
Yeah, at one point he had, I think, 8 balls and 8 overs, and just said a little while ago he'd faced 25 in 17.
Yeah.
A few more in the last few overs since then.
It's not very many when especially you're playing as well as he is. Thakur bowls and just played by Butler off the back foot to cover. And there's no run. More stewards escorting another player. I can't see who it is from here. A tall batsman heading off, getting a cheer.
Dom Bess, something like that.
It's a bit tall for Dom Bess, but again accompanied by the stewards. Look like nightclub bouncers.
Nice blazers, don't they, the stewards here? Nice dark green blazers, yeah.
Thakur bowls. Oh, there's an appeal for leg before wicket. He hasn't played a shot. It's a real misjudgment. Has been given not out. It's a clever ball from Thakur. Just came back a little bit. And Butler, letting it go, is struck firmly. It wasn't just a case of brushing the pad. It hit pretty full on that.
Yeah, it's his danger ball at the minute. It did for Dan Lawrence. It hits him on his inside thigh. The England players wear the creams or whites, and they have the 3 lines on the right kind of pocket. It hit the 3 lines.
228 for 5. The lead's 133. There's 5 wickets left. Thakur goes in and it's a tempter for Butler. He almost through the kitchen sink at that. It's full and wide of the off stump.
The thing about the England kit these days, that it's full, isn't it? It's the shirt, the jumper, and the trousers. Back in my day, you just wore your own trousers. Had your own sponsor on the trouser pocket.
I think we had to tape them up when I was playing. I had to put a bit of white tape over the sponsor. Yeah, but he didn't get free trousers. 228 for 5. Inga Thakur bowls again, and Butler nicely forward, plays a very good-looking defensive stroke there.
He looks so much better in his rhythm.
Yep.
I know he's only on 12, but first innings it was so obvious that he was out of sync, out of rhythm. Could be the last ball of the session. Oh no, we go to 5-2. There'll be another over at least.
Yep.
Might tempt England and bowl Jadeja that last over.
Still a bit gloomy. Lights are on, but thankfully dry. We haven't had any rain at all so far, and Butler comes forward to the last ball. Thakur fields, and that's the end of the over. 228 for 5 with 5 minutes to go until the tea break. The lead's 133. Hopefully, don't watch. Matthew Hoggard might be firing the barbecue up around now. I've got an evening at the Hogsters
tonight, have you?
Never knowingly underfed when you go to the Hogsters.
I see on his Instagram post, Hoggy's Grills.
Oh yes,
he does these burgers. They'll be on the menu tonight.
Well, there might be. He
puts everything on.
There's always a lot of food.
Bacon, cheese, you name it, mushrooms, onions.
He does it with absolute relish, but very calmly.
Does it?
Very calm at the barbecue, is the Hogster. But there'll be sort of. It's a bit like the Flintstones. When there's huge, like half a dinosaur goes on. It's a bit like that.
Ernie will be there.
Ernie will be there. Okay. Ernie is he's the chief pork shredder.
Right, okay.
So you've done your shoulder of pork for hours and it falls off the bone. Ernie's the man in there with the bear claws. 228 for 5. Up comes Bumrah, bowls, and plays that away into the leg side, up to mid-wicket. He's settled into Leicestershire life. I always thought that once he'd finished playing, that he'd be back to his native Yorkshire, but no, he's one of us now.
Yeah, he has all these grills, and he seems to have a nice view across the fields.
Oh yes.
What do you reckon he'll have for you tonight, Maggers?
Well, it'll be. I don't think he'll be vegetarian. I don't know. He likes to surprise us. 228 for 5. Bumrah again over the wicket, bowls, and that's nicely steered again by Root down to this third man position. Again a chase. Pujara's down here now. His throw reaches punt. Take 2 more. Root to 95. He's got 4 balls to go to get his 100 before tea. The crowd sense it. They're buzzing.
Well, it's been a special innings.
Really has.
137 delivery. It's been an exhibition.
Well, the innings of the match by a mile. 230 for 5 is 95 not out. Bumrah once more moves in, bowls to him, and again he steers it down to third man, but he's lost the strike here. Pujara running in isn't the quickest, but he won't allow Root to have 2. There's a bit of a boo from the crowd. Oh dear, that probably means that he won't get there, but he is only 1 boundary away. 3 balls to go, but up at the non-striker's end.
Well, to highlight the fluency of his innings, he played a sequence of 9 dot balls, including a maiden from Jadeja at one point. But other than that, he hasn't gone more than 5 balls without scoring in this innings so far. 138 balls in.
He goes just checking with the umpire though to make sure that it is definitely tea after this over. Butler on strike. Bumrah's on his way and he bowls to his forward, plus a straight to cover. No run there. 2 balls to go.
Yeah, I thought in the first innings, if you go back to the New Zealand series, his technique wasn't quite with him against the seamers. It was whether he was testing out something, his movements were a little bit too big. From the minute he walked out there in the first innings, I saw his stance nice and upright, his minimal kind of trigger movements, and he just looked so much more compact. And he's brought that same rhythm out in the second innings.
Bumrah bowls and Butler again defends, so Root will be not out 96. Again a bit of a boo. You can be patient, he'll be out again in 20 minutes. And then he's got 4 runs. Oh, it's a no ball actually, that one. One of those delayed
amazing
no balls.
No balls he bowls for such a great bowler.
It must be his run up, it must be the approach. It's so stuttery and
Yep.
2 balls to go. Still a chance then. Butler gets 1 here. 3 slips waiting. Bumrah's on his way, bowls, and he might get 2 actually. He's steered it down to third man. A chase for Pujara. He will come back for the second. So yes, Root will resume on 96 not out. Unless there's another no ball, of course.
Yeah, it's the 6th no ball in 16 overs for Bumrah. Prior to that in his career, bowled on average 1 every 26 overs. Though a lot of that was in the time before they started referring it to the left the no balls to the TV umpire.
Here's the last ball of the session then. The lead's 139. The new ball due in 10 overs. Butler's on strike on 14. Jasprit Bumrah from the pavilion end comes in, bowls to him, fully drives up, times it well, out towards wide bid off. He'll be facing the first ball after tea because again they've taken a single. And Joe Root, what a terrific innings that is. Knocks the bails off with his bat down at this end, having asked the umpire's permission first, and walks off 96 not out. He's got that cheeky smile's back on his face again, which is nice to see. We haven't seen it for a while, but that's good to see. He's walking off there, chatting to 1 or 2 of the Indians as he goes. Got a little bit of jaunty walk about him that we haven't been missing for a bit. That's a bit more like Joe Root. Still a long way to go, lots to do from England's perspective, but while the captain remains, there's still hope.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just holding this team together. Someone gave me the stat downstairs that Joe Root scored pretty much 30% of all of England's runs in Test cricket in 2021. That's how but just look at the scorecard: 18, 28, 6, 30, 25, 15 not out from the other players, 96 not out from the captain. He at the minute is the England Test match batting lineup.
He is, and there's still some head scratching to be done about the rest of it, but for now at least the lead's 140. Michael, off you go. Some other duties to fulfil, I'm sure. Dan Norcross will be coming in here in a second. Let's quickly drop into Heathrow Airport though, and Deep Das Gupta there with the light at the end of the tunnel, Deep, so keep going, mate. Well, interesting session, eh?
very interesting session, because at this point in time it seems like that England's ahead, and this is how it's been this whole test match, isn't it? It's, at times it's India, at times it's England. This is such an enthralling test match.
How about the fluency of Root's innings? We saw obviously Rahul score 84. It took him 214 balls. Yeah, that's the way he plays. It was harder work. But given the context of the game and the number of runs that have been scored and how difficult batsmen have made it, to be rattling along like Root is, 96 from 138 balls. Just put that into context for me.
As you mentioned, the fluency, he got 13 boundaries. Now, if I leave boundaries aside and those 13 deliveries, his strike rate is around that 33-35, which is like a single every 3 deliveries. And I think that's the key, the strike rotation, because he's never there for more than 3-4 deliveries at a time facing a particular bowler. And that is so important. The other important thing, I was just looking at some numbers. Post Sibley's wicket, England has gone around 4 and over.
Yeah. Yes, well, that's what I suppose Bairstow injected that, didn't he? And Lawrence and of course Root as well. Are you getting in any way a little bit itchy there, Deep? I mean, 140 at the moment. What do you think England would think that a reasonable chance of winning from a lead would be?
I think anything above 200 would be quite a challenging run chase for India. Day 5, the pitch is kind of has improved as far as batting is concerned, but it might be a little up and down, and obviously chasing a total of anything above 200 on day 5 can't be easy. The pressure definitely would be on India, and that's the reason I'm saying that England are ahead in this game at this point in time with 140 runs lead.